Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, hit it.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show.
You know who it is.
Also, if you didn't know, this is called the show.
On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Good morning and a brilliant Monday to all of you. It's nice out there today. 314-436-7900. It's Amy, it's Chris. It is us with you until 12 o'clock. Then the Gas House Gang at noon today. And there is plenty to discuss, and we will tell you all about what's coming up on the show today. 314-436-7900. Told you the number. You've got it. You can leave us voice messages on the Odyssey app. Odyssey app, you can stream the show live on your phone. You can also watch the show on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We are at Chris Amy KMOX on Twitter.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
Protesters interrupted Mayor Kara Spencer's State of the City address. 5 people were arrested. We will talk more about the aftermath.
And the data center debate continues. You may have heard last week that Maine became the first state to legislate a statewide ban on large data centers. We will chat with Stephen Richer about data centers. You may remember him as the former Maricopa County recorder.
And the Cardinals swept the Astros over the weekend. They continue to play some pretty good ball. They'll be with the Marlins tonight in Miami. We'll have Matt Pauley on the show. He'll join us at 10:30. So, man, let's talk about what happened at the end of last week as Mayor Kara Spencer delivered her State of the City address.
Spencer's speech was delayed by protesters. St. Louis Police spokesman Mitch McCoy says while police respect the right to peacefully protest, several people were disruptive and refused to leave City Hall when ordered by SLMPD and city marshals. At one point, the bulk of the audience started cheering in an unsuccessful attempt to drown out the demonstrators.
Good evening, St. Louis.
Finally, the mayor tried to address the protesters directly.
Thank you for reminding us that we should be thinking about where we're coming from.
McCoy says officers and marshals took action to remove the demonstrators. 5 people were taken into custody and are facing charges including resisting arrest, interfering with police, and peace disturbance. Spencer was able to begin her prepared remarks. About 20 minutes later, she touched on topics from improving city services to the prolonged tornado response. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
So I get the frustration there with the slow response to the tornado damage. I mean, we've all driven, well, we've seen the pictures, but if you've driven through North City, if you've gone north of Del Mar, the Central West End, you will see there are still buildings that have been, halfway torn down, residents sitting outside their homes. It still, in a lot of areas, looks like a war zone, and the response has been slow. And Ranj, it is a right to protest to a point, but free speech also doesn't extend to the point where you can drown out someone else's speech. And when the mayor, the protesters protested for a while and the mayor addressed them, I'm not sure what else you can do except remove the protesters from that situation, because you can't not have a State of the City address.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with people being arrested for that. I mean, yes, you get your say, and you are allowed to have your say, but at some point it moves past having your say to now you're being just disruptive, and another person is not allowed to speak. So I don't mind them getting the message out there, because the message is correct. There are thousands of properties that were damaged by the tornado, and still thousands of people who still need help. And we're talking, and we're going on almost a year ago that this happened. I mean, we're past 11 months ago this happened. Here's where it's very messy for a couple of different reasons. One of them is I don't think it was ever realistic to expect all of those homes to be fixed by the government. It just probably wasn't going to happen that way.
And some of them are not fixable.
And some are not fixable. So, and I don't know what you do for people who have lost their homes and have no means to get another one. I really don't know how you tackle that. The second thing is, this is not all on the city itself. I mean, you can voice your displeasure at Mayor Spencer, and I'm not sure she's done everything that could be done. Maybe she has. She seems to really care about it. But this is also a larger issue. There was FEMA funding that was halted months ago. I know the city had been waiting on directions from FEMA and from the state, because this is a disaster like that does require a lot of federal assistance. A city cannot take care of that all on its own. St. Louis doesn't have the money for it. Yes, I know we have the windfall from the Rams settlement, but it's still not enough for all the stuff we need to do in the city and then fix all those homes. We just don't have the money for that. And this is more of a federal or even state issue. And for a long time, there was just a story written about this. I think it was last month, that the city felt handcuffed because they were waiting on clear directions from FEMA on what to do next.
And that's the thing where, you need help from the federal government and you're going to get it. But you hear the complaints about bureaucracy and red tape, and some of that is what the city of St. Louis is dealing with, because yes, there's money, but sometimes there are so many hoops you have to jump through. There are boxes you have to check. It's not just like the government says, here, Kara Spencer, here's $100 million, go help people. It is, you've got to make sure that this much money is earmarked for here, and this money has to go through here, and you have to use this kind of assessor. Oh, and that assessor has to be approved by someone else over in a different department. And think about how complicated it is when you're an offender bender and you have to deal with State Farm, right?
And their insurance,
and their
your
insurance, and
It's
your
just,
insurance.
Yes.
And it is, think of that, but exponentially worse.
Yes.
And it's also, like I said, with federal government. And so it's going to take so long. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying there are layers of frustration here. And I did see someone post, a local photographer, the difference between north of Delmar, south of Delmar, and so forth. Knowing, too, that the tornado became an E3 north of Delmar. It became worse in those areas that were hit the hardest, and maybe you would have people with lower income, a lot of homes that don't have insurance, because let's say you inherited your home from your grandma and you don't have the means to have insurance on that home or whatever it may be. Yes, you have a house, but technically you can't afford it if something were to go wrong. There's a lot of that situation. And so people were pointing out that there's scaffolding on some of the homes now in the wealthier areas like Clayton, but there's no scaffolding in North City. And I get it, and it's really frustrating, but it's kind of the way the world works, that if you do have more money and you do have more means, you have resources. So whether those people had lawyers to help them with the insurance agencies, they had insurance, what have you, they're using their own money, they're getting the scaffolding. That's not federal government money there. That's not federal government money. So when you are relying on aid, it takes so much longer, and it's not right. I get it. It's not right, and it's frustrating, but that's kind of that discrepancy that people are seeing, and I know it's very, very frustrating. But like you said, Ron, it's so complicated because the money's coming from so many different places. And there are a lot of private organizations, private groups, just families. I know in the Academy Heights neighborhood, people are chipping in and buying Home Depot gift cards and giving it to the people and say, here, let's go get some work done on your home.
And it's still not enough. It's just, I never expected this to be a quick recovery. It was always going to be slow, and especially because it happened in an area where the resources are limited, where there aren't people who are amazingly wealthy. I mean, there were some nicer homes and more expensive homes that were damaged in the neighborhood I used to live in the Central West End. But I mean, and it's sad for them. Mm-hmm. Those are the kind of people that are going to have an easier time getting their houses fixed, though, than somebody on the north side.
Yes, and to be clear, I mean, easier is a it's a relative term because, like you said, let's say some of the big homes, the expensive homes in the Central West End, we know some people in those homes where one of them was told it will be 2 years before you can move back in. Now, this is someone with money, with a lawyer, and with insurance, and they're like, it's going to be 2 years. So it is a hassle, but the wealthier homes will have a resource. They lost their homes too. It's tragic, but they do have resources. When you are in an area or neighborhood that doesn't have that kind of wealth, a lot of the homes aren't insured, and you're relying on federal aid, man, it is a slow, frustrating process.
I think the ultimate point, though, is how much can a mayor really do about this? Do you expect that she's going to have all those homes rebuilt in 11 months? It's just, it's a problem that is far bigger than a mayor and a city. The city is part of the equation, but they can't fix everything. It just is impossible for them to do it. However, I suppose that if you are one of those people who is affected or was affected by the storm and you want your message out there, maybe this is a good way to a point. It is a good way to remind people, hey, don't forget about us. This is exactly what we said in the days after the tornado happened, that we have a tendency to just kind of
like a funeral.
Yeah,
you're sad. You talk to them for the first week, but then you never reach out again.
Right. Then you just kind of go about your life and you forget about it, and then maybe something occurs to you like, oh, yeah, the tornado. Well, I hope those folks are doing well. So to that end, I hope there's a little success in that and maybe it greases wheels somehow. But this is a much, much bigger problem than what a city itself can actually fix.
And like you said, the protesters making their voices known, I think, yes, you can't stop the whole state of the city address, but making your voice known is important because what can the city do? Well, city can deploy trucks to clean up trees, clear out streets, right? Removal of debris, removal of, wires and whatever else may be on the streets. And if those streets near the movers and shakers, maybe the wealthier streets, if those get cleaned out first before you even touch North City or the areas where the people don't have as big of a voice, then yeah, you need to raise a stink about that.
I agree with you.
You need to raise a stink about that. And I think some of that is the issue that they were frustrated with. And yes, I'm glad that you have a voice to raise a stink about that, because that you can't just always take care of the movers and shakers and the people who have a ton of sway. You need to take care of the people, the workers, the people who live in those neighborhoods and have been keeping those neighborhoods alive. So again, you have a right to protest for sure. You can't completely shut down someone's event. That's not something you can do.
It's Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on KMOX, again with you until 12 o'clock today. And it's nice to have you with us on a beautiful Monday here in St. Louis. This is 104.1 FM KMOX.
Want to hear a shocking statistic? Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. Don't believe it? Google it. And that doesn't count serious injuries like birth injuries to perfectly healthy children. All doctors wear white jackets, but it doesn't make them all the same. Most medical errors are committed by the same quacks over and over again. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Many hospitals looking for more profits are forcing doctors and their groups to be employees of the hospital or be forced out of their system. It's a troubling trend in medicine. People make mistakes, but medical mistakes are huge and often forever. If you believe your child suffered a birth injury or a misdiagnosis or mistake led to a loved one's death or injury, let our team of medical malpractice lawyers examine your case for free. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
What's up? It's Draymond Green. I'm back for my 14th NBA season, and my podcast, The Draymond Green Show, is back too. This season, I'm breaking down games, reacting to the biggest NBA stories, and sitting down with teammates, rivals, and culture shapers. And trust me, I'm not holding back, on the court or on the mic. 2 new episodes every week. New segments, big conversations, real basketball talk for the real hoop heads. Listen to and follow The Draymond Green Show wherever you get your podcasts. We're back, we're better, let's get it.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Growing a brand is hard, but reaching the right customers shouldn't be. Meet Outcomes from Viant. We've built an intelligent platform that handles the complexity of digital advertising for you. Powered by advanced AI, we help your brand show up in the right places at the right time and ensure that every dollar you spend leads to a real business result. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
April is the perfect time to reset your home for the long run, and Universal Windows Direct makes that decision easy. Right now, when you buy 2 windows, get 2 for free, and there's no limit. Plus, you'll get 24 months with no payments and no interest, giving you a full 2 years to enjoy the comfort before you pay a dime, and a $500 bonus off your home improvement project. Universal Windows Direct has been great to me. They've been great to all of my listeners. They are absolutely the real deal. 314-334-2522 or universalwindowsdirect.com.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jen.
Curative, that's a complex decision that involves what we call multidisciplinary care. So that involves a surgeon, a medical oncologist, radiation oncologist. So you need the expertise, and that's something that we have here at Siteman, especially geared for these esophageal cancer patients.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Visit siteman.washu.edu.
Come celebrate our Customer Appreciation Days, April 24th and 25th, and save up to 10 to 20% on trees, shrubs, annuals, tropicals, perennials, houseplants, and more. KMOX will be live on Saturday. Visit ChesterfieldValleyNursery.com for more details. Don't miss the Route 66 Centennial Festival at the Missouri History Museum, April 30th through May 3rd. Bring back memories of the Mother Road's stunning natural scenery and roadside attractions, and explore its complex history and impacts on communities across the region. Featuring a concert by Sweetie and the Toothaches, a classic car show, neon display, food trucks, lectures, kids' crafts, and more. All activities are free. Schedule at mohistory.org/festival.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. Good morning to you. We were just talking about Mayor Spencer's State of the City address, which was interrupted by protests last week. And people are rightfully frustrated with the tornado response, especially those on the north side of St. Louis. And there are still thousands of homes and properties that have been damaged as a result. And it's been a slow recovery, much slower than people were hoping for. 314-436-7900 is the phone number. Dawn joins us on KMOX. Good morning, Dawn.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. You were talking earlier about, Amy had said, people staying there and maybe, the grandparents own the house and so they don't have insurance. There's another point to make on that, too. I had read an article a couple of months back that some of these people, because they did stay there and didn't change the title, the parents or the grandparents own the house, they can't get the FEMA aid because they can't prove that they own the house. So I know there's been some pro bono lawyers trying to get it fixed to prove that they were the relative and that, it should be their home. Another issue has been that, say there were multiple children. So now they have to find all of those children to sign off saying that, yes, this person can have the house and they can have the aid. So that's another issue going on.
Yeah, that
Dawn, thank you. That
appreciate the call.
Another layer, just complicating it when, that is really, really hard to get through all of that paperwork.
And something, the point you made last segment about how there are people who have resources and attorneys and their homes were damaged and have been told, even with all of this, even with all of the recourse that you have, it's still going to be a couple of years before you can get back in your home. That's some perspective, because if you have none of that, it could take It could take 5 or 10 or
the home's
never.
gone. Yeah, or the home's gone because
Right,
some of them
right.
are not savable. And I'll just add this too with a friend of mine who has resources and whose home was ripped apart. And she said, every time we talk to the insurance company, we have our lawyer on the phone because at every turn, the insurance companies tried to screw them over. Now, imagine you don't have a lawyer. Imagine you don't have the resources. So even if you do have insurance, let's say you're in the middle, right? You're not super wealthy, but you're also, you have the deed to your house. You own your house. You have insurance, but you're now dealing with an insurance company that's delaying. How are you going to get through that process, right? Even so much as saying, oh, those windows, those are, like she was saying, sometimes they would say, well, the window's $13 a shutter. She's like, no, that's it doesn't cost $13 a shutter. That's not going to cover it. So again, if someone with resources is struggling to get the insurance company to help them, imagine you have insurance, but you don't have a lawyer. So,
and Senator Josh Hawley on Wednesday of last week had sent a letter to the president of State Farm, John Farney, demanding accountability for their reportedly slow walking payouts. And, you know, he did promise in the immediate aftermath of the storm that he was going to stay on them. I'm not sure what a letter does. I'm not sure how much teeth the federal government has in this. But if part of the problem is State Farm is not acting quickly, or any of these other insurance companies are not, and I know that they can be an absolute pain in the ass to deal with. I know I got a family member right now dealing with them, was approved for a new roof, and then they came back and said, yeah, we actually made a mistake. You're not getting a new roof. Well, what do you mean? Why did you just tell me I was getting one? How dumb are your people who work there that they can't figure this out the first time? So I think that as long as there is pressure put on these organizations to pay out, I mean, hopefully it results in something meaningful. But, you know, I think that's what it's going to take. It's going to take very powerful people staying on top of this.
Yeah. Okay, quickly, you want a real good news, bad news situation?
I don't care.
The good news is, do you remember the St. Louis Code Blue program that was going to increase shelter beds and shuttle money with RAM settlement funds to help unhoused people during the winter so that they didn't get sick, they didn't die from severe cold? So once the temperature drops to a certain number, say 25 degrees in the city of St. Louis, Code Blue kicks in, where you open up beds and you open up shelters. Well, the city said more than 1,000 people were helped by Code Blue activation program that Mayor Kara Spencer launched ahead of this winter. And what was amazing is that it scaled up the shelter capacity based on temperature, tapping shelters providers to set up at least 600, and in some cases 791 additional beds on the coldest nights of the season. That led to, overall, a total of 20,000 bed nights provided for those who are homeless. So apparently this was twice as many bed nights as the city has ever provided. And it was so successful that they didn't have any cold-related deaths or severe injuries among the homeless. And other cities have reached out to St. Louis to ask them how they did this so effectively. There is question about funding, ongoing funding, because the program will need money, and they're not sure if it's going to come from the city's general revenue stream or from private donors. So that is all being debated. But it was a success, and the city did not see any cold weather deaths among the homeless, because remember last year there was the woman who died right there at 14th and Clark, like right where you get on the highway, because it was so cold and she froze to death. So the Code Blue program was successful.
That's great. And, you know, I know we look for small victories every now and then because we don't seem to have a whole lot of major victories. But anytime you've done something that is noticed by other cities where they come to you and say, how did you do this? We need to borrow this from you. I think it's great.
And bad news, there's a hole in the highway.
Oh.
What a hole. Yeah.
I heard about this.
Yes.
It's on the Illinois side on 64.
It's the IDOT side, which we consider a minor victory for us in Missouri.
And our very own Matt Pajeski went to the Bourbon Trail again. Like you just went, dude. How How many times do you need to go to the Bourbon Trail?
At least twice now.
Yeah.
No, but how many? Do you need to go twice?
You don't need to go at all. No.
Did you hit the hole?
No. I
Did you see the hole on the way?
I did not see any hole.
Did you take 64 to Louisville?
I did the entire time. Yeah. But
how many holes were in Louisville?
0. Hey, Louisville's great, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Very nice downtown.
They have their basketball arena.
Yeah.
Where the Louisville team plays. It is like like a professional arena.
The KFC Yum Center.
No, it's not.
Yes,
Is
you're
it?
right. It is. That's what it's called. He is exactly
No,
right.
it's
Trust me, I saw it 1,000 times.
Yep.
KFC Yum Center.
Is it 4th Street in Louisville where it's all covered? It's like their ballpark village, but it's like this long street that has a glass ceiling over it. It's just bars and restaurants.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure what number street it was.
I think it's 4th Street. I'm not sure. But I went there.
I've heard good things
It
about
was
Louisville.
fun.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, Louisville's great. But anyway, I will say this about IDOT. They put a steel plate over the hole. You guys, this hole, you could see through the highway, the bridge, over the Mississippi River.
You could look down into it.
You could look down into the river.
Yeah.
Can you imagine hitting that? It was like 8 feet long, this hole, and 4 feet wide.
Imagine falling in that.
Don't even. Anyway,
Do you know
IDOT
that
said they
that's-
put a steel plate over it.
We've talked about our irrational fears. One of mine is being on the bridge when some sort of earthquake happens
Really?
and my car goes into the water.
Interesting.
I think about it every time I cross the bridge.
Really?
Yep.
Well, you wouldn't have liked when we got to run across the Eads Bridge in the marathon.
Yeah, I wouldn't
and
like that.
The Metrolink went under it, and the
But
bridge
I would
went
I would rather be,
on foot.
yes, than in a car. Because I have played out the scenario in my mind of going into the water,
interesting.
the car filling up with water on the inside, and me being able to get out or not get out.
I think you'd be knocked out on impact, to be
So
honest.
do you know what I did? I lost it, but it was 2 cars ago. I bought one of those window breaker things.
My grandma bought one
Yeah,
of
I got
those.
one. It's got the little metal point on it, and you just press it up against the glass, and it's supposed to shatter. So just in case I'm ever trapped in the car in water,
That's hilarious.
I can get out. Although I don't know where that thing is. I need to go find it.
In the trunk where you need it.
It
the
probably
least.
It's probably it's back there with a tire.
Yeah.
Well, let me get out real quick and get the. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, don't fall in the hole. But they did put a steel
Yeah,
covering
you're
over
fine.
it, so you're going to be all
fine.
right.
It's safe now.
I love how the engineers are just like, "Oh, it's fine. Just drive on it." Like, are you sure?
Sure?
I don't know if I believe you. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX. Do you like being surveilled?
No.
I love to be surveilled. You know why?
Why?
Because it makes me feel like somebody cares about me. Well, there's a story in Wired about James Dolan, who is the owner of Madison Square Garden, the New York Knicks, the New York Rangers, the Sphere in Vegas, and he's got this surveillance operation, and it made us wonder, are we being surveilled here too? We'll tell you about it when we come back on KMOX.
St. Louis is a baseball town, and the Gas House Gang talks Cardinals baseball. Ackerman, Ranji, Miklas, and Claves bring informed opinions and real insight. Smart baseball talk from guys who truly know the game. And every Tuesday at noon, it's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Passion, knowledge, the best baseball talk in town. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon. We know baseball. KMOX.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
It is a perfect morning, 53 degrees, plenty of sunshine today, a high of 69. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 50.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Eathos.com.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
So there is an owner in sports, and if he happens to monitor radio stations around the country, we will be banned from Madison Square Garden after we do this segment, because James Dolan is widely considered one of the worst owners in sports. He's very wealthy, though. And when I say worst owners, I don't mean is he making money, because all of these owners make money. I mean, are his teams any good? Well, the New York Knicks, they've made it to the playoffs. They've been better lately, but they have spent a couple decades being lousy. But he owns Madison Square Garden.
And the Rangers.
He owns the Rangers. He owns Madison Square Garden. He owns the Sphere in Las Vegas. He owns Radio City Music Hall.
So I didn't know he owned the Sphere. That's wild. This guy owns the biggest and most famous entertainment venues in the country.
He owns a couple of them.
That's wild.
Those are three of them.
Yes.
Yes. And
wow.
so James Dolan is widely known to be extremely sensitive. He fires people who he thinks have said bad things about him. Yeah. He reminds me of somebody. But he is, apparently he's got some sort of really sophisticated security operation going on, in particular at Madison Square Garden. And Wired just did a story on him at the end of last week about how detailed it is. They're using facial recognition. They are following people. There's one example of a woman who came in, and she had been flagged by their system for not even exactly sure what the reason is. They didn't give good reasoning for it. But they followed her from the moment she walked up to the building, and then everything she did inside the building, they monitored it with the facial recognition technology. They knew everything she did, and they have timestamps of entered the building, went and bought a soda,
Are you talking about
went and did this.
Nina Richard?
Yes.
It's because she is a transgender woman, And the internal documents are that I guess Dolan didn't want her on camera.
He thought it would look bad for them, yes.
Yes, but then also that was like the only reason that he followed her. And I'm looking at the timestamps, and just to Ranji's point on how detailed it was, it's like 7:09:40, enters from the south gate. 7:10:20, scans her ticket to section 102, row 8C5. 7:10:44, is seen on the South Con elevator. And this, every minute, every move, if she went to the bathroom, if she bought a pretzel, it's documented.
There is if you are a social media poster and you have said anything critical about the team, they create an account for you. Not everybody, but they have been monitoring social media at the direction of James Dolan, according to the story, and you've been basically flagged. Like they'll know. They'll know if you've said something about them. And then in some cases, they have banned people from coming into the building altogether, or when they do come into the building, they are being followed, or at least they believe they are being followed. And this is a person who is known for treating a lot of his former players badly. There was a famous incident with Charles Oakley where he had him banned from the building. Charles Oakley is a New York Knicks legend. He is a fan favorite, and this man had him banned from the building for a while. And so the point with this is they are now using the facial recognition technology and artificial intelligence. And because Madison Square Garden is such a jewel in terms of venues around the country, that it's one of the most, if not the most well-known venue in the country. Everybody knows about Madison Square Garden, that a lot of what they do gets picked up by other arenas. Other stadiums look to them and go, oh, what are you guys doing? All right, well, maybe we'll implement some of that. Would you have an issue if you were at, and make no mistake about it, if you are at a Cardinals game or a Blues game, and I'm assuming a City game as well, they're monitoring the crowd just to make sure nobody's doing things they're not supposed to, like bringing in booze from the outside, for example. If you have snuck in a flask, they're going to find you. So that kind of stuff has been going on for years and years and years. But this is a new level where as soon as you have walked into a building, the technology knows that you're there because they can recognize your face, and then they can follow you from the moment you step inside. Are we comfortable with that?
No. And it's scanning your face. It's very advanced. It's particularly like between your temples. It's scanning that, right? Like your eyes, your distinct facial features. And again, it's not just for, security. It's anyone that Dolan perceives to be an enemy or an opponent of his. So, for instance, he randomly picked this transgender woman. She was not a threat. It was not a threat.
Right.
It was, he didn't want the cameras to pick up on it. But then also there was a graphic designer who had previously.
This is amazing. I love this one.
Yeah. Sold T-shirts that were anti-Dolan. Kind of like, think of Kroenke Sucks.
Yeah.
It's like that, right? Yeah. Like a Kroenke Sucks T-shirt.
I think he made a T-shirt that said Fire Dolan.
Yep. And so Dolan got his identity, this guy, and said, you're going to scan him. We've got his identity already because he's been to previous events.
And let's make it clear, he was not selling the shirts in the arena.
No.
He was just selling them outside, not outside the building even, just somewhere else.
Think of the best description is just any Kroenke's Sucks T-shirt. And he banned him. He wouldn't let him in a concert because his cameras were able to scan this guy's face, and a little alarm went off. Hey, this is the T-shirt guy. You can't come into the concert. In another case, an entire law firm was denied entry into Madison Square Garden and those events.
Yeah.
The entire law firm, because one guy had, quote, bothered Dolan. Do you understand? Like,
bothered Dolan.
Not only is it like, they banned the law firm, but that does mean then that Dolan already had their information in his system, right? From previous events. That's the only way you could ban them from showing up to events, would be we run the names of the law firm. We run the names that are in the MSG Radio City Hall Sphere data. We match the names and we refuse entry.
Well, now there's a system called eConnect that they use, and they can find your social media posts, find a photo of you, and then upload that into their system so they could find you before you've even come into the building ever for the first time. Which, I think we are lucky here. All owners in sports teams, I think have some sensitivity to them to an extent. Most are not nearly as bad as this guy. So we're very fortunate we don't have anybody like that here in St. Louis. But I'm pretty sure that we would all have a real issue with walking into Busch Stadium and knowing that our face, because we posted on Twitter, I'm mad at this team right now. And then they follow you from the moment you walk up to the building. They know everything you've done as you've been circling the building, what concession stands you went to, where you sat. I think we would all have an issue with that. And the problem is because these venues, or the potential problem, I should say, because I don't think this sort of tactic is going to be adopted everywhere. But if some of these places decide, well, Madison Square Garden's doing it and the Sphere is doing it in Vegas, we have no choice but to follow suit. We need to start monitoring people like this. I don't think any of us are going to be okay with that.
And this is where, and I know we're going to speak with a lawyer, probably Brad Young, about what's legal and what's not legal, because we know that this country already has a deep misunderstanding of what's free speech. You have free speech in public spaces. Free speech is not the right to shout down someone else so they can't speak. We see that a lot on college campuses when a speaker shows up, like at Yale or Harvard, and a whole group of protesters come in and shouts them down saying it's our free speech right. That's not how it works. You can't stop someone else from speaking. And we also know that with private companies, it is not your free speech to call into the station and say whatever you want on the air, right?
Yeah.
We can say, no, we don't allow that on the air. And so there are limits to it when it comes to private spaces. But there are also discrimination rules. Now, I know it's not a protected class. Being someone who made anti-Dolan T-shirts is not a protected class based on gender or race. But something strikes me as really foul about this, that's something. At what point is it discrimination? And that's where I don't know legally. Can Dolan just say, I don't like Chris Ranji. He poo-poos owners too much, he's not allowed to come in.
My instinct, because it's a private business and they can refuse entry to people, I think
it's
it will.
And that's not a protected class, right?
We should talk to Brad Young about it and find out. We'll
do
reach
that.
out and see what he has to say about this.
Doesn't it feel off?
It does.
It feels like an invasion of privacy. Like, I can't tell what's the illegal part. Is it him not letting me go to the concert because he doesn't like me? Or is it him monitoring my every move? And I'm sure somewhere on the back of the ticket, it says, if you walk into this event, this ticket means you're agreeing to security measures and so forth.
Text message here to 314-436-7900 says, and I bet they don't even have a garden at Madison Square Garden. They do not.
What
Would you like a little history, though?
Yeah, I would like some history.
So the original Madison Square Garden was near Madison Square Park.
Okay.
Which is why they call it that. And it was in the late 1800s. At that time, any sort of large venue where people would gather for a speech or whatever was considered a garden. That's why it's Madison Square Garden.
That is why it was the old Boston Garden?
Yes.
Which is now TD Garden.
That's right.
I like those names more than the corporate names. I like the Boston Garden.
You don't like TD Garden?
Well, the TD is now not going to be allowed in. Now I'm not going to be allowed in.
Listen, one thing about Madison Square Garden you can give them credit for, they've never changed the name.
I like it.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. Did you see this? Coming up next.
Here's something I run into a lot with younger homeowners, and happened to be with my little boy. He was looking at purchasing homes. This house had a 20-plus-year-old furnace and air conditioner. And, of course, my advice was never buy a house with that old of an air conditioner. You will be buying a new one. And he goes, well, how much does a new one cost? For his size home, total figure tens of thousands to over $20,000. If you're looking at a house, my personal opinion is make sure it's a newer unit. If not, request buyers to put in a newer unit. That makes it easier on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KingdomOX.com/events.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
I never thought of myself as the type to settle down. Never knew where the team's next lunch was coming from. But then I met you, Easy Cater.
Workplaces everywhere are saying, I do want delicious food at work. And they're ordering from beloved restaurants with Easy Cater.
You were reliable. You had great options for every budget, even when marketing ops did keto again. We got through that together. With you, it's just so easy. Easy Cater, will you keep showing up at my workplace forever?
Find love at first lunch. Order at easycater.com.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's the latest tool available at Supplement Superstores to get you moving down the path you want to when it comes to being in great shape. This is not a fat burner. It is a complete metabolism system. It's Burn Balance Edge for the guys, Burn Balance Zen for the ladies. So make sure you ask for the right one when you go in. But what this does is makes your body work the right way. So what I've noticed in a short amount of time so far, metabolism is great. I mean, you're starting to feel, in fact, I can feel it. Shirts are fitting a little looser. The belt pulls a little tighter. And on top of that metabolism boost, you're also getting some reductions in stress and cortisol levels. You're getting appetite control, craving control throughout the day, all day focused energy with no jitters and crash. And look, it isn't magic. You need to do the work. But I'll tell you this, it's a good assistant. It helps a lot to make the right decisions. So if you want long-lasting results, go to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Ranj, you know Nikki Glazer.
Heard
She's
of
a
her.
pretty famous comedian right now.
We have had her on this show before.
We have.
Her star's really risen.
It has, and she kicked off the St. Louis Marathon by roasting the runners. Well, she is dating a St. Louisan, Chris Convey, and she also lives in St. Louis, and St. Louis Magazine asked her, hey, your star has risen, like Ranj said. Why are you still living in St. Louis?
Who said that?
What?
Who said that to her?
Someone asked her. I thought it was St. Louis Magazine asked her. They're reporting on it. Why are you still living in in St. Louis in the Central West End.
How dare they?
And she said there are 2 reasons why. One, she can look like a scrub here without judgment, which you can't do in L.A. You can just look like absolute trash here.
Well,
nobody cares. And 2,
yay for us.
being here helps her stay more disciplined. So this is Time magazine. Time quotes her. She said, quote, "I am a workaholic. And if I live in New York or L.A., I'll be doing a podcast every day. I'll say yes to a stand-up spot every night. I compare it to being an alcoholic. Going to St. Louis is like locking up the liquor because there's no work for me in St. Louis."
Well, you can go to Helium every night if you want. You can make a little bit of money.
So it's like, thank you?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
she's saying she
like
can
this is
work here because there's nothing else for her to do.
It's what we
to
call
work.
a backhanded compliment
Yeah.
to the city.
She can look like a total scrub, and there's nothing else for her to do but work.
Amy, did you see the story from The Atlantic over the weekend about Kash Patel, the director of the FBI? And Sarah Fitzpatrick published the story saying that she had spoken to a couple of dozen different people close to the situation who have said that Patel is sometimes difficult to reach because they can't wake him up because he might be hungover.
Yes.
For example,
I did read this.
It's incredible. And I'm sorry that I tend to believe that at least some of this is accurate. I would not be at all surprised if every single bit of that story is true. Well, he has filed a $250 million defamation suit against The Atlantic and Sarah Fitzpatrick. I think that's probably going to go nowhere. But it's pretty damning if the article that Fitzpatrick wrote is true. And again, I kind of don't doubt it. That's pretty bad.
It's what we've seen with him using private planes to cart his girlfriend everywhere. I think he thinks he's a rock star.
Well, the story states, her story, that more than 24 unnamed witnesses who, among other things, allege Patel had been engaged in bouts of excessive drinking and unexplained absences, often alarmed officials at the FBI and the Department of Justice. That several officials told her Patel's drinking has been a recurring source of concern across the government. They said he is known to drink at the point of obvious intoxication. Now, look, if you're the FBI director, you are allowed to have a beverage. You probably shouldn't get blasted, though. Probably ever, I would say.
I would hope not.
Because anything can happen at any time here, and you might be needed. You might be needed to spring into action, don't you think? As the director of the FBI?
We've already seen...
You can't be hungover and you can't be drunk.
We've already seen cases where he has made information public before it was confirmed. Just like when they said, oh, this is our suspect, but they hadn't really confirmed that was the identity. Just like kind of going out of order. And it does say the story that, again, this is to the 24 people within that anonymous within the organization have said he is erratic, suspicious of others, and prone to jumping to conclusions before he has necessary evidence. And I feel like we've seen some of that in the public. Like, this isn't even behind the scenes. Like, if you asked me my opinion of Kash Patel, it would be erratic, suspicious of others, and prone to jumping to conclusions because that's what we've seen publicly. So I can only imagine what's going on behind closed doors.
And a texter reminds us that if you've seen the Olympics gold medal hockey celebration, that it's not that difficult to believe, quite honestly. Dave is watching on YouTube and says, J. Edgar Hoover used to wear dresses. Yeah, exactly the same thing, dummy. It's exactly the same thing. You nailed it. You got him. Chris and Amy on KMOX, friend of the show, former Maricopa County recorder Stephen Richer, who is a friend of data centers. Will join us.
Of data centers.
He's a friend of data centers. He loves them. And we will ask if they belong here in the city or in Missouri for that matter. Stephen Richer joins us when we come back on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Oracle is enlisting the help of a fuel cell developer to power its AI data centers. Oracle is acquiring up to 2.8 gigawatts of Bloom Energy's fuel cell systems, with 1 gigawatt able to power around 500,000 U.S. homes for a year. The International Energy Agency says AI data center electricity demand is expected to double between 2024 and 2030. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. Like that morning status meeting. Always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some Power Bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is 10:01, and right now we've got sunshine. It's 54 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. AP correspondent Philip Crowther reports Pakistan is hoping for a successful round of negotiations.
Now, there's no doubt that people here are excited about the prospect of the arrival of delegations from the United States and Iran again, but they're also excited by the possibility of a Pakistani-mediated agreement between the United States and Iran.
Iran remains undecided about attending tomorrow. The U.S. seized an Iranian cargo ship over the weekend, and Iran's military vowed to respond, calling U.S. actions disingenuous. Some business owners could have a chunk of change coming from the federal government. The payments, a reimbursement for President Trump's illegal tariffs.
Starting today, Customs and Border Patrol is set to start processing tariff refunds for businesses that request them. But this is not for the individual consumer or the shopper. Businesses are eligible if they paid tariffs between April 2nd, 2025, remember that so-called Liberation Day, and any tariffs finalized within the last 80 days.
CBS News correspondent Jolene Kent says the government could be on the hook for $175 billion. 5 private properties in southern Missouri that have been previously used by hunters, anglers, and other outdoor enthusiasts are now closed to the public. The Missouri Department of Conservation says the move comes as a lapse in federal funding no longer provides private landowners with monetary incentives to allow the public to hunt or fish on their land. You can find a full list of affected properties on the Department of Conservation website. One of the largest continuous stretches of land up for grabs in recent years is currently for sale in Hazelwood for $45 million. The 1,000 plus acres of vacant farmland being pitched as a potential site for a data center or large-scale manufacturing operation. Potential data center developments in Ferguson, Berkeley, and near the Armory in St. Louis are all on plots that span less than 250 acres, which is just a quarter of the size of the plot in Hazelwood. The Hazelwood city manager said there were no inquiries from buyers about the land as of Thursday. The University of Missouri St. Louis getting an interim chancellor starting July 1st. Chris Spilling is the current vice chancellor for research in economic and community development and a professor of chemistry. He will be taking over for Chancellor Kristen Sobolik, who is retiring and took the position in 2020. From the KMOX Business Desk, trading spaces in the Del Mar Makers District. Ben Paremba is moving his brunch restaurant, Florentin, down the street to the space formerly occupied by Steve's Hot Dogs. He also says he plans to open another new concept in one of the vacant spaces in June. That Steve's Hot Dogs location, along with the Fountain on Del Mar, closed earlier this year. The once up-and-coming stretch was hard hit by last year's tornado.
Plenty of sunshine this afternoon, high 69. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 54. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds, breezy and warmer, high 81. For Wednesday, mostly sunny and warm, the high again 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sunny and 54 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Giddy up! Cardinal Cowboy for Team Renner here, America's oldest family-owned garage door company serving both wholesale and retail markets. Free repair or replacement quotes and $100 off a new garage door.
RENNER. The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe.
Hour 2 of 3 on 104.1 FM KMOX. Chris and Amy, thank you for being with us today. Gas House Gang at 12 o'clock. We'll talk about the Cardinals' sweep of the Astros and more coming up today at noon. But it is time to go to the guest line and bring in a friend of the show, the CEO of Republic Affairs, senior fellow at Harvard Kennedy School, and formerly the Maricopa County Recorder. And he loves data center. He is the number one fan of data centers in the whole country, we like to say. Stephen Richer.
A friend of data centers, you might say.
Stephen Richer is with us on KMOX. How's it going, Stephen?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far, but, I'm a fan.
You're the only one who likes him.
We call him Stephen Data Center Richer around here.
That's right.
I thought you'd converted on this.
Well, I'm semi-converted.
We're open to it.
Because I do think the small and medium-sized ones that already exist in the city, I think those, the city, the area, because they're out in the county, they're everywhere, sometimes in, medical buildings and so forth that you wouldn't even notice. And with those, I think that they seem not intrusive at all. I think they help fight off obsolescence, so that's good. I'm worried about the big giant ones.
Yeah, and we've reached a challenging point for society because everyone wants what data centers create. Everyone's increasingly using the cloud for all their medical records, for all their banking records. Everyone wants to increasingly use AI for everything that they do in work, and those aren't possible. AI is not possible without data centers. But there's obviously a lot of backlash now, and I think that backlash centers around use of water, use of electricity, and then just use of land that could be otherwise, more fun, more exciting. And I think the first two are solvable by if you just internalize those costs. Just say the public utilities say, you know what, data center, you're welcome to come in, but you have to generate your own power or you have to purchase power specifically so that it doesn't affect consumers. Water, it can do the same thing. And then as far as location, just don't put it in the middle of downtown St. Louis. Don't put it right next to the Arch. And isn't that just a zoning problem? And so I fear that we are going to kill something that we all want for largely solvable reasons.
Yeah, and the solvable reasons, those are the issues that I think people believe aren't really solvable, that these data centers can say, Well, we're just reusing water. So we're not actually taking more out of the system. We're not taking away from your crops and from your houses. That we're just going to recycle this water. So don't worry about that. But there's not much trust in that. Do the data centers that get proposed, is there enough recourse on the part of a local government or a state government or whatever to make sure that these centers and these businesses adhere to the standards? Because I think that's the concern, is that people don't believe them.
Yeah, well, I would say that's maybe as much of an issue with your public utilities and with whoever regulates those utilities, because if they're coming to that agreement and you don't believe them, then you would say, well, let's indeed look at the enforcement mechanisms. I would also encourage people to take a look at how much water is consumed by these versus other industries, because all of this pales compared to, say, even 1/5 of the amount of agriculture that goes on in Missouri, and certainly pales in comparison to the amount of agriculture that goes on in the United States, or in Arizona. And maybe you'd say, well, that's agriculture, but it just seems that we are demanding certain efficiencies from this industry that is important that we haven't demanded of others. And I just think it's because it's been sort of, associated with a negative stigma. I can't point to why that is. Tell me what happened in Festus, Missouri, which I learned was a town.
It is a
Amy,
town.
would you like to tell Stephen about Festus?
I would love
Yeah.
to. It is the South St. Louis. It's Jefferson County, so it's south of St. Louis County and the adjacent county. And people, it's got a lot of land. It's not all. I mean, there are neighborhoods. There's suburban and then rural areas in Jefferson County. But in Festus, the neighborhoods and the neighbors there, the communities, didn't want data centers at all. So there were meetings with the council there in Festus where the council members were moving for pro data centers there, and the people did not want it, and so they voted them all out in a recent local election, all of the council members who were pro data center.
And so why did they not want them? Was it fears about land? Was it fears?
Yep.
It sounds like they
Noise.
have a lot of land.
They do have land, but like I said, it's not rural. It's not like, there are neighborhoods. There's a thriving community in Festus, but if there's land abutting those communities where you could these would be the large-scale data centers, I think they were worried about the ecological impact. They were worried about the water, and then also I know many were worried about the humming noise, because there have been reports that these large data centers, right, also just emit a large humming noise all the time, and it's just kind of an eyesore and an earsore.
Yeah. Again, these seem like solvable problems, and it feels like the stigma, just because otherwise we're going to have to get really creative. There's these new data centers that are floating out in the ocean, and they're powered by supposedly the movement of the ocean, and they're cooled off by the ocean, and obviously they wouldn't get in anyone's way, or we're looking at shooting them up into space. But just the reality is like this is how our economy is going to be driven. And I do think that they have real benefits in terms of creating local jobs, not as many as maybe you'd want, but lots of construction economy as well. But otherwise, are we going to really yield all of this to probably China, who's going to power artificial intelligence of the future? I would say that's a legitimate national security concern. And I feel that it's coming from, again, water. We can sequester water. We do that for other industries. Power. We can sequester power. And quite frankly, we need to get better about generating power anyways, just because we all know that that's going to be critical for the future of the United States. So I don't know, but I'm sad when I see things like that, because I feel like the narrative has gotten too far ahead of the reality.
Yeah. So what you say about the energy thing, that is where I was going to go with it, because you're talking about China and how we could end up conceding that territory to them because we're against all the data centers, because it's inevitable, probably, right? I don't think that we're going to halt the construction of them altogether. The rest of the world is not going to. And I think it's the same thing when it comes to, clean and green energy, that there's this current push locally, here in this country to slow that down because people think it's stupid or it's not working or whatever. Well, the rest of the world is going to go that direction, and China can be out in front of that, or we can. So in that sense, is it a similar concern?
I think it's a concern, and I also think it's a luxury that many people have who are more politically connected, more attuned to the news, have a louder voice than it is for people who are just getting by. I think that's true of sort of green energy a lot and energy development. People say, well, I don't want it. And because I have environmental concerns, but I can also afford to pay $5, $10, $15, or $20 more a month on my electricity bill because we got rid of that power generator. And people who are less affluent, that hits them differently. And so I think that with respect to data centers, I think it's a luxury if you work in an office to say, well, these jobs aren't the type of jobs we want. Well, they're good jobs, and it's an economy where not everyone has a good job. And so I guess I'm fearful that we're only hearing from certain types of voices as well.
Stephen, let's go back to the Festus story, because I think some of the details in this story are illustrative of concerns maybe across the country. So this was a $6 billion data center proposal in Festus. Now, the council voted 6-2 for it in Festus, but the voters replaced 4 of those council members who approved the project. Then they filed a lawsuit. The voters did. Now, the company in charge of the data center project said it's moving forward and said, I don't think this lawsuit has legs. The petition that was filed earlier this month charged the city of Festus and the company, CRG, with 12 counts, including unlawful spot zoning, violations of Missouri's Sunshine Law, civil conspiracy, and due process violations, partly because the lawsuit alleges that the city officials and the CRG, the company representatives, held briefings with council members in groups of 3, which is deliberate to stay below the quorum threshold that would trigger open meetings requirements. All of that to say is I have heard stories exactly like that where there's not a lot of transparency and there's a lot of non-disclosure agreements and there are discussions with council members not in the public. If data centers are all on the up and up, why does it seem to lack transparency?
I can't speak to this particular incident, but if there's process problems, then absolutely you should sue, and shame on them if they did that. But that's true of, quite frankly, a lot of industry, and I just think that this one has become socially taboo, and so therefore we're a little more fixated on it. I think at the end of the day, the data center apparently convinced these city council members that it was not going to be a bad thing for the community, and I find it hard to believe that all of these city council members would have voted seemingly against the wishes of their constituencies if they didn't think it was a good thing for their community. So, look, they should follow the law, and obviously there's a lawsuit to enjoin it now, but as you know, anyone can file a complaint and can make certain allegations. We'll see what the court ultimately rules.
I got a question about that I'll bring up in a moment. But no, you know what? I'll do that now. Because you had been tweeting about this over the last couple of days. We had just talked about the story in The Atlantic about Kash Patel, who is the director of the FBI. And the story says that he's often unreachable and because he's intoxicated. And he has now filed, as of about an hour ago, a defamation lawsuit against the Atlantic and against the reporter who wrote that story. And you've been part of a suit like that before. So, I mean, something like this might hit very close to home for you.
So on this one, I think I'm on the more favored side. In data centers, I have the median listener maybe against me. I think this is absolutely a bad strategy, and I don't understand what Director Patel is doing here. So this can go in a number of ways. So one, he files the defamation suit. The Atlantic will move to dismiss and say that this is First Amendment protected, that it had reason to believe that all of these things were true. I promise you that the Atlantic ran this through at least 20 different attorneys before publishing these very incendiary story against the director of the FBI. So I think that it will get dismissed. But if it doesn't get dismissed, then they would proceed to discovery, in which case the Atlantic could have him sit for a deposition and go through the falsity, the alleged falsity of each and every one of the claims in the story. And I just don't know that that's a position that Director Patel wants to be in. Now, the only way I can see this ending positively for Director Patel is as with Trump in some of his defamation suits, you put this defamation suit out there, and then you use the levers of government to sort of strong arm the sued defendant into submission and maybe even paying a certain amount in a settlement. But the Atlantic isn't the type of organization that's going to back down easily. I think that they're proud of the story. I think that they checked the story, and I think that they're going to show that they have every reason to believe that it's true. And truth is 100% defense in defamation suits. And I think that this could wind up backfiring for Director Patel.
Last thing for you, because you work very closely with elections and you know a lot about it, we should let you know that in St. Charles, which is a town just outside St. Louis, it had a city council vote which ended in a tie. And they are now, instead of spending $30,000 for a special election, a runoff election, they are going to decide who one of the council members is by drawing a name out of an opaque jar.
A small
opaque jar. That's how they're going to decide who gets this seat. Do you think that would something like that have made your life easier in Arizona?
I wish that's how we would have decided every elected position. I'm not sure we would have been all that much worse off. People call me a defender of democracy and the electoral process, but some days I'm just like, how much worse can it be if we just randomly chose names? So
out of a small opaque jar.
Yeah, I salute the efficiency of that. Maybe that's just Monday morning talking, but seems reasonable to me.
I salute the efficiency of it. I love it, Stephen.
Stephen?
You're the best.
It's great to talk to you, man.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come on. I'll come maybe with a few sort of data point rejoinders. I just feel that this is, again, this has become sort of a boogeyman industry in many quarters at this point. And I think that when you have such a demonized industry, you start to divorce facts from reality. And I think if you look at water consumption in Missouri versus other industries, I think you'll find that this isn't all that offensive. If you look at ways we can sequester energy consumption, I think you'll find that this is a solvable problem. I think if you look at how we have we don't want to be next to other forms of industry. We don't want those right next to our houses. And yet we've, for the most part, been able to manage that. And if you want Missouri, the United States, to be in charge of its own data and ahead of the global economy, then I think that this is a reality that can also bring some dollars into the state. And so I think it's worth getting creative about. I think it's worth digging in on before just saying data center's bad because, I don't know, I read something on the internet. I'm not suggesting that's true of the two of you, but it's true of a few people out there.
It might be. You don't know.
Yeah.
Stephen Richer.
Well, Amy, but not you.
Okay, whatever.
Thanks,
hang up on this guy.
It's good to talk to you. Thank you, and we will do it again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That is former Maricopa County recorder and CEO of Republic Affairs, senior fellow at Harvard Kennedy School, Stephen Richer, with us on KMOX. It's the Chris and Amy Show. Matt Pauley will talk some Cardinals baseball and more with us at 10:30 on 104.1 FM KMOX.
When did watching TV go from a way to relax to a complicated chore? Well, if you're sick of huge cable bills or endlessly searching for the show everyone's talking about, then welcome to Philo. Philo's the streaming service that respects both your time and your wallet, without needing to cut the stuff you actually love to watch. This means live TV for more than 70 channels like Hallmark, History, A&E, and Lifetime, plus a huge library of blockbuster movies and classic shows, and an easy-to-use unlimited DVR that lets you save anything you want and skip all the ads when you watch. The best part? You get all this for just $25 a month when you sign up at Philo.tv. No hidden fees, no long contracts, just a genuinely great deal. And new users can try it completely free for 7 days. So head to Philo.tv, that's PHILO.tv, and experience a better way to TV. Subscriptions auto-renew at monthly rate plus applicable taxes. Cancel anytime. See terms at Philo.tv.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code WAGON for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WAGON for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's WAGON.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, I think this is going to be a strange season for real estate. Just kind of feel it in my gut. What can people do apropos of their mortgage to put themselves in a better position to get that house?
You know what, Dave, that's a great question. There's a bidding wars that are going to happen this spring. You want to get the house. This is how you're going to make things better. Number one, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. That means you can go into our portal and generate the letter and edit it for any amount you want up to the amount you're approved without chasing the loan officer. Number two, the bagel loan. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. It's a bagel. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Add that money you would normally pay onto your bid and beat the other offers out. And you know what? The third thing is we can close fast. 10 days. They're going to look away at the other offers because most lenders take as much as 30 days to get done.
You can call or text Stewie at his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the bagel loan in MLS 226715.
The BizDash 5K, presented by Worldwide Technology, is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, this high-energy corporate race is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour, combining fitness, fun, and unbeatable team bonding for companies of every size. Runners and walkers of all levels are welcome. It all comes together at Energizer Park Thursday, May 7th in downtown St. Louis, an office party like no other. Create your company team today at STLBizDash.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
100 years, one legendary voice. Relive KMOX's century of service, classic audio, photos, videos, and more at KMOX100.com.
We love your voice messages on the Odyssey app. You can listen to the show, did you know? Podcasts, all that stuff, get them later. If you missed something, which you shouldn't be, you should be listening live or listen multiple times, whatever. But anyway, we welcome your voice messages directly to the Odyssey app. We were just having that conversation about James Dolan of Madison Square Garden and the Sphere and how he is watching everybody closely with surveillance, and he's very sensitive and kicks people out. Michelle sent us a voice message.
Okay, so you're talking about the owner of Madison Square Gardens, who also owns the Sphere. My brother was involved in a lawsuit against their company, and they won. And so he banned them from the Sphere. So when U2 came in concert, he couldn't go. Apparently, one of his partners tried to go. He had bought a ticket, got into the Sphere. They found him, kicked him out, let his family stay, but he couldn't stay. Seems like he's a little bit vindictive.
That's outrageous, man. I wonder if and maybe she can follow up and text in and let us know if he was refunded the ticket, at least. Because those are not cheap tickets.
They're not cheap tickets, and that could have been, for all we know, his whole trip, because people make the trip to Vegas just to go to the Sphere. So then you've got plane tickets and hotels. But also, that's humiliating to be kicked out of a venue, and his family was there, and you've done nothing wrong. Like, just the spectacle itself, it's kind of embarrassing. I would be embarrassed. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, but now people are looking at you like, who are you? Are you a criminal? Oh, I saw that guy. I wonder what this guy did. And it's of no fault of his own. That's incredibly vindictive because it is humiliating, and it's a total petty power move.
Just because, dude, what are you worried about? I don't understand being the owner of 2 professional sports teams, 3 world-class venues that everybody in the world knows about, and being so sensitive that you don't like somebody's criticized you or somebody tangentially related had a suit against you and won. Like, you're fine. Do you know? I don't understand being that sensitive.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of it? You got the whole world, man, and you're worried about this?
This is next level, though. I mean, this is violating privacy, personal space, experiences. It's not good.
It's really bad. We're going to talk to Matt Pauley when we come back, and we're glad you are hanging out this morning with us on the Chris and Amy Show. And FanDuel right now is serving up happy hour every day during the playoffs. Yes, the playoffs are here. We're talking special drops you're not going to want to miss, from profit boosts to bonus bets and more. And the best part, it's happening every single day during the playoffs. There are all kinds of playoffs happening right now, by the way. So whether you're betting the early game or you're getting ready for that primetime matchup, you can make sure that you open the FanDuel app, see what's waiting for you today. That app, as I've mentioned a bunch of times, is really easy to use. It's intuitive. It gives you all the numbers that you need so that you can make a good decision. FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel is an official partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All Access with Ollie Marmol on the Gas House Gang.
You're constantly trying to figure out how to get meaningful information through to the player in a way where they can put it into action. If they can shoot holes in your game or in your information or your delivery, you're done. If you come into those and you're 80% prepared and they can shoot holes in your messaging or in your points that you're trying to make, you lose credibility real quick, and you're not gaining that back anytime soon.
Ollie Marmol, Tuesdays at noon on KMOX. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
55 degrees and completely sunny outside Studio B. Beautiful day, a high of 69 tonight, mainly clear. A low of 50, weather sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 20% off your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands, or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-355-8662. 636-355-8662 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-355-8662.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Breaking news for your home. Way Day. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home. Like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Way Day long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Way Day. Shop Wayfair's Way Day from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today, the Cards, the Marlins.
Ameren Total Access 445. First pitch 540.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Yo, Paulie!
Paulie's great, man.
Yo, Paulie!
What'd you do for Paulie? Anything?
Me, Paulie! I was responsible!
Paulie, we're here because of you.
Yes, the Cardinals over the weekend with a sweep of the struggling Houston Astros. And now they are in Miami. They take on the Marlins tonight. 4:45 pregame on KMOX, and then the 5:40 first pitch. You'll want to listen in to that. You can do so with the Odyssey app as well. We are joined by Matt Pauley, host of Sports Open Line. Redbird Rush Hour, which is at 5 o'clock tonight, or usually, not tonight, because there's a pregame show. And Cardinals pre- and post-game. He's got that for you, though, tonight at 4:45. What's up, Matt?
Not much. How are you guys?
Pretty good series for the Cardinals.
Really good series.
Yeah.
Sweep the Astros, sweep a road series, find ways to win. You know, there are a couple games in there. The second and the third game, they kind of give it away late, but then they still get the big hits late, you know, even later to win it. So, yeah, I mean, this is they've got the fifth best record in the National League right now. They're incredible in extra inning games. They're incredible in one-run games. That's a little bit scary because those are numbers that tend to be – there's some randomness that goes along with one-run games and extra innings. Those numbers tend to be around 500 for most teams in baseball. But enjoy it while they're doing it, and maybe they can just keep on going. So it's been a lot of fun so far. Yeah, it has been, and it's I am still, as we have been talking all along, the record is great. Watching them get results is good. It's valuable to learn how to win, I suppose, and it's good experience for the younger players. But I'm really interested in individuals and how they've done. I mean, this past weekend, what really stood out to you in terms of the individuals? Maybe Mason Wynn, because he had such a slow start to his year. And yesterday he had the 3-hit game, including the bases clearing double there. That is the biggest hit in the game. He has a hit in each of his last 6 games during that period. He's jumped his average from 154 to 222. Like, 222 isn't anything to write home about, but that's a significant increase in a 6-game span in the month of April. He's a 260 hitter with a 785 OPS. So it's starting to come around right now for Wynn. So I think that would be the first thing that really jumps out at me. We saw Jordan Walker. He did okay, too. It wasn't, we haven't seen any home runs from him lately, but he's still, he's still producing. He's still getting on the board. Yeah, he's getting hits, which don't begrudge hits, right? Like he has extended out his hitting streak. The overall numbers, though, over his last 5 games, he has 1 hit in each of his last 5 games. So that comes out to, 5, 10, 16. He's 5 for his last 26, if I did the math correctly. If it's not that exact number, it's somewhere in there. So he's starting to come back to earth a little bit. That's okay. You expect that to happen. We've said over and over, this is not a guy who's going to have 1,000 OPS at the end of the year. He still has 1,000 OPS right now, even with him slowing down just a little bit. The OPS is still just a tick over 1,000. So yeah, the fact that he has slowed down, but he hasn't fallen off the board, I think says something about the realness of what's going on with him, just in terms of being a much better hitter than we have ever seen really in his career.
And this is it, Amy. Before you jump in here, this is the thing that I've been talking about. It's what he does now.
Mm-hmm.
It's what he does next, and he'll go through a stretch here, I imagine, where at some point, if maybe this is it, maybe it's not. But if he goes through a stretch for a couple of weeks where it's looking pretty thin, it's what he does on the back end of that, how he gets himself out of it. That's the real test.
Yeah, the good players in Major League Baseball extend their hot streaks and limit their slumps, right? That's how you have success over 162 games, because you understand there are going to be hot streaks and there are going to be slumps, and if you can find a way to make sure that those slumps don't last a month or something. Yeah, that's been one of the issues with Nolan Gorman over his career. We have seen him go through periods where he has been the best hitter on the team, but then he goes into these slumps and he has such a hard time ending that and getting out of it. So yeah, I would not call what Jordan Walker is doing right now a slump. When you're still in the middle of, what is it, 12-game hit streak, that is not a slump. It is fine. Even if even if the batting average over the last 5 games doesn't look fantastic, I don't care right now. But at some point, it's going to be not that. At some point, the hitting streak is going to be over, and at some point, he's going to have 2 hits over the last week. And then how long does it take him to get out of that?
We talk about the realness of things, like how hot Jordan Walker was at the beginning of the season, right? And even the Cardinals right now, their record 13-8, pretty good. Of course, we didn't know what to expect. But then you look at a team like the Mets that have, $350 million in payroll. They're 7-15. When you look at the realness of that, do you look at the realness of a bad start in the same way you would look at the realness of a really hot start that eventually it's going to shake out?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Amy, because the Mets are built to be a very good team. So I don't think they are as bad as their record says they are right now, but something is off, something is missing. I'm Carlos Mendoza, their manager. He was the manager last year when they had that epic collapse and missed the playoffs, which they never should have done. And then at the end of the season, he is given an ultimatum where either he changes his coaching staff or he gets fired. So David Stearns, their president of baseball operations, wasn't even all in on bringing the manager back this year. To bring him back, he had to make all these changes. So then you're forcing him to hire people to be on his coaching staff that he's maybe not comfortable with or familiar with or happy with, whatever it might be. And then you go into this season, and again, you've got a team that's built to win at the high level, and they are just not winning. And yesterday they lost an extra innings to the Cubs. They are finding new ways to lose on an everyday basis. I wonder how long the shelf life is on a Mendoza, because, and I'm not, people who listen to me know that I am a be patient guy. That's, especially in baseball in 162 games, just let this thing play out a little bit, see what it looks like. And I'm not somebody who calls for people to lose their jobs. But when you look at the entire arc of the story, going from the letdown last year to him not for sure being back this year, if they don't turn this thing around quickly, I don't know how he survives.
Well, speaking of letdown, there has been one part of this team that has been pretty disappointing, and that is the pitching staff. It just isn't working. The team ERA is near the bottom of the league. There are only 2 teams worse, and it is the Astros being one of them and the Washington Nationals. What do you make of the early season pitching for the Cardinals? And we'll be 4 weeks into the season on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't know, and I kind of separate starting pitching and relief pitching. Starting pitching hasn't been great. You've got 3 guys right now with an ERA above 4. You've got 1 guy in Matthew Liberatore. Until his start yesterday, his ERA was above 4. And then you have another guy in Michael McGreevy who's got a fantastic ERA, sub 3. But if you look at the advanced numbers, his expected ERA is above 7. So they've put together the rotation with those guys. I think I think a couple of those guys are going to be better. We're going to see Hunter Dobbins at some point joining the rotation. There's going to be things that they can do, but they're finding a way to win, even not getting great starting pitching. And then at some point, the relief pitching, it's going to have to figure itself out. You got two guys that you've relied on all season long, and O'Brien and Romero. Even with Romero letting down a little bit yesterday, that doesn't mean anything. That happens in baseball. You got another couple guys in Graceffo and also Soriano, who have been pretty good and are being relied on a little bit more. But the rest of the group just has not been consistent yet. So I don't know. I think at some point what the bullpen looks like has to be different, because either different in the sense that these guys start performing at a higher level, or different in that they give other guys opportunities. I don't know who those other guys are. You're not looking at AAA and just seeing a bunch of guys who are pushing to get elevated to the big leagues, but it's also a team that has a really good track record at having very successful bullpens. That's one of the things that Oliver Marmol is especially good at as a manager. So I've got a lot of faith that when the season gets over, the bullpen numbers are going to be respectable. I'm just not 100% sure right now what the pathway is to get to that.
Yeah, I mean, outside of a couple of guys, you just don't really know who you can trust. And again, I know the people who don't like Ollie will say, well, look, bullpen's not doing well. There's your sign right there. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's I used to have this fight all the time with fans. It's if you can't trust anybody, how is it your fault? If you can't, everybody you go to, with the exception of two people, not working out for you, that is not the fault of the manager. You can't go to the same two guys every single night.
Yeah. Okay, so I just actually tweeted something out about this a little while ago. Let's look at this team from a big picture perspective. They're getting almost no production from four spots in the order: left field, center field, catcher, and shortstop. Admittedly, Mason Wynn over the last few days has started to turn it on a little bit, but he's still got not very good overall numbers. So the overall production, you've gotten very little from those four spots. You have the two relief pitchers you've trusted all season long, two more who have been okay lately. You have a starting rotation. 3 of the 5 guys have a +4 ERA. One at the +4 ERA before a start, and then McGreevy has the expected ERA of 7.42, even though he does have the very, very good sub-3 ERA. And you have a run differential of -8, even after a weekend where they outscored the Astros by 8 runs. So it was -16 3 days ago. It's -8 now. It's still not very good. How in the world does anybody criticize Oliver Marmol when those are the overall numbers and you're 13-8, fifth best record in the National League? Marmol, his coaching staff, the play, they deserve so much credit for the sum of the parts being much less than what the record is right now.
Yeah, and I think it's a very difficult message to have sink in sometimes. It just once people have made up their mind on somebody, especially when it comes to a baseball manager, it's very difficult to change that perception. That just is what it is from here on out for the rest of eternity, it feels like.
Yeah, you're right. But I would hope that our intelligent KMOX listening audience, the ones who do not like Oliver Marmol, would have more of an open mind than it feels like sometimes they do.
Well, we're going to have him tomorrow on this show. He's here at 12 o'clock every Tuesday, and we get a good 30 minutes or so with the Cardinals manager. And if you have comments, thoughts, questions, concerns, you can always send them to us, text them in, or if you're streaming, watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, you can send that in. The hockey playoffs, as we say goodbye here, hockey has started with the postseason. Blues are officially done for the year. So as we look back on what happened with the Blues and now have entered an off season, what do you think, Matt?
They got to get better, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? We put a lot of stock in what happened, post break this year, and then we heard Doug Armstrong was like, "Yeah, that didn't really matter." He was both him and Jim Montgomery in their end of season news conferences were very, very blunt about this team and where they're at and everything. And that's almost disheartening in the sense that the hope was, even though they didn't make the playoffs, that some young guys really started to step forward, and it looks so much better after the Olympic break. And then you hear Army, and he's like, "Well, he doesn't put much stock in that." So I don't know. It's a bummer. I've said this before. I met my wife when I was living in Colorado, and unfortunately for her, she is an Avalanche fan. And it's very frustrating in the Paulie household right now, where I just have to see Colorado Avalanche hockey all the time in the playoffs, and I've got nothing, and it's impacting our kids because our kids are seeing the Avalanche in the playoffs. So, like, my oldest daughter is becoming more of an Avalanche fan than a Blues fan. I don't know what to do about this. It's a really, like, I'm trying. I know you can't. Like, I feel like a terrible father. But like my daughter yesterday was like, are the Blues in the playoffs like the Avalanche? No, like it's just it's not good. It's not good.
Well, I do.
If anybody at the Blues would like to win over my daughter,
you gotta do
please
it.
Help me.
I will say this as we say goodbye. It is a shame because playoff hockey is the best. Here, the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Battle of Pennsylvania. Here was an update from yesterday. Update from PPG Paints Arena. There have already been 2 fights in the crowd. 5 fans have been ejected, and we're still 20 minutes away from puck drop. That's what I'm talking about.
I love, and there's some of these games have been so good. That Lightning game yesterday where they commit all these penalties and the hat trick, power play hat trick, and an overtime win. The way the Sabres were able to come back against the Bruins yesterday. You mentioned Penguins and Flyers matched up, and that Sabres win yesterday was their first playoff win since 2011, I think it was. I mean, it's so good. It's so good, and I want the Blues to be in it.
Well, maybe next year, bud.
Maybe.
Thanks, Matt.
You bet.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
Matt will have the pregame show for the Cardinals at 4:45 today on KMOX. The 5:40 first pitch as well. Cardinals and Marlins, game 1 of 3 in Miami. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Looking for a great real estate agent? Someone who can help you sell your home fast and for top dollar? Go to ready.com, REDY.com. Because on Ready, agents will pay you just for the opportunity to sell your home. Yeah, on Ready, agents will pay you for your listing. Thousands of dollars up front just for a chance to sell your home. And it's easy. Just go to ready.com, enter your address, and when you want to sell. In just 48 hours, the best local agents are competing on Ready to be your agent, with cash offers up front just to win your business. Hey, your listing is valuable. Don't give it away. Make those agents earn it. Get paid to pick your real estate agent. Go to ready.com or call 888-525-REDY. 888-525-READY.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spamalot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Take advantage of our Mother's Day sale, which starts now. It's our best deal of the year. Save up to 60% off. Visit legacybox.com/radio and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/radio for 60% off. legacybox.com/radio.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. American Eagle Eagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at Amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Markscores, because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Chris Ronji, Amy Markscores, and we're excited to bring in a friend from KMOV. You know KMOV Channel 4 over there, Ronj?
Heard of it.
Yeah. Laura Hediger. She's a KMOV anchor and host, and she has, coming up on Saturday, Laura's Run for Kids. That's in Tower Grove Park on Saturday, April 25th. Hi, Laura. How are you?
I am well, Amy. Thank you guys so much for giving me the time to talk about this really fun event that's happening this weekend.
Well, I know that you're so passionate about it and that Laura's Run for Kids benefits Little Bit Foundation. So for people who aren't familiar, what does Little Bit do and why are you so passionate about it?
The Little Bit Foundation does basically everything it can to make sure that when a child is sitting there at their desk at school, that all they have to think about is what is happening right there in that classroom with the teacher. Little Bit started 25 years ago as a simple coat drive. A local mom thought, you know what, I think there are kids in St. Louis who don't have coats. 25 years later, that has blossomed into this beautiful nonprofit that is now in 50 different schools across the metro, both on the Missouri and the Illinois side, and they truly break down barriers to learning. One of the barriers could be in the winter, a child not having a coat and just being so cold while waiting for a bus. Another barrier could be the fact that a child and their family is hungry. They're going through food insecurity, and maybe that child on a Friday is dreading the weekend because he or she doesn't know when they'll eat again until they're back in school on Monday. So now Little Bit is providing packages of food that child can take home and eat during the weekend, just anything that a child needs. So once they are at school, all they have to do is learn.
So if people are looking to participate, again, coming up on Saturday, what should they do?
You could go to firstalert4.com/run, and that will walk you through how to register. We would love to have you out there, and no one in the world is as fast as Amy. So even if
there's
you're
one
not,
person. She lost.
Just one person.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to talk about her.
Yeah.
But even if you are not a big runner, that's okay. We would love to have you walk the course. My mom is in her 70s, and I talked to her last night, and she is ready to walk the course. My little boy is 3. Talked to him this morning. I'm going to win Mommy's Run. I said, yeah, you are, buddy. So really, all ages are welcome. It's just a beautiful morning of community and celebrating, because something that's really special is we bring students who are in the schools that Little Bit serves to the race. That has been something that's been so important to me every single year that we've done this, because so many nonprofits do have big events and galas and special things for donors to come together. Sometimes the people who use those services, though, don't get to be part of those events. This one, kids are there. We provide the buses. The buses go to different areas near the Little Bit schools to pick up the kiddos, so their parents don't have to drive to Tower Grove Park. We have that busing system in place, and it's really my favorite moment is when the buses pull up and the kids get off and they run up to that start line and they're so excited.
It's awesome. Well, Laura, as we say goodbye, I know it's going to be a beautiful day on Saturday. What website again should people go to sign up?
firstalert4.com/run.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, guys. Make it a great day.
Why, thank you.
Oh,
You
that's
too.
the nicest thing anybody's ever said to
Laura
us.
Hediger with KMOV.
Usually they tell us to go to hell. That was nice.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know, right? Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, guys.
Laura Hediger with KMOV. FirstAlert4.com/run to sign up. It's the Chris and Amy Show. Andrew Egger is the White House correspondent for the Bulwark. He'll join us next on KMOX.
Why would life-saving care require a membership? In a real emergency, are you reaching for your wallet or your phone to call 911? And what if the member helicopter isn't the closest one? What if they don't carry blood on board? What if those differences matter? They do. Arch Air Medical Service is proud to serve Effingham and surrounding communities with life-saving air medical care. Our highly trained crews deliver advanced medicine in the air because when seconds count, capability matters more than a card in your wallet. Plus, we're part of Air Methods, the nation's largest air medical provider. Worried about cost? Here's the truth. The No Surprises Act protects patients with private insurance from unexpected out-of-network air ambulance bills. You'll only pay your in-network copay, coinsurance, or deductible. If you have Medicare or Medicaid, similar protections apply. Providers cannot bill beyond those limits. That means no air medical membership is needed. Learn more at airmethods.com. Copays, coinsurance, and deductibles are set by insurance providers, not Air Methods. Terms and costs may vary. Contact your insurer for details.
You know, most sellers put their home on the market and they just wait to see what happens. Well, I'm Kevin Wheeler, and I'm here with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one that I trust. That's Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin.
We're starting a program here in the upper GI space called PREVENT. That's the acronym, and it's really aimed at trying to detect these cancers early and even to kind of, reverse them and understand kind of the science behind why they form.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
It is going on 11:01. I'm Debbie Monterey. We've got 57 degrees with sunshine in downtown St. Louis. A U.S. delegation will head to Pakistan soon for a new round of peace negotiations with Iran. Iran hasn't said if it will attend because they say the seizure of an Iranian vessel by the United States in the Strait of Hormuz was a breach of the ceasefire agreement. CBS News national security contributor Samantha Vinograd says both sides are trying to show their leverage by shutting down the strait.
The United States blockade of the strait is to cut off an economic lifeline for Iran. And Iran's control over the strait is to show the United States that it can choke off energy supplies.
CBS News medical correspondent Dr. Celine Gounder says expect shortages of some pharmaceuticals because of the blockage of the Strait of Hormuz, starting with antibiotics, blood pressure, and diabetes medicines, but another type of pharmaceutical even more vulnerable because they can't be stockpiled in advance.
Drugs that need to be kept cold are even more exposed. So that includes vaccines, insulin, cancer therapies.
Several weeks ago, KMOX told you about pending legislation in the Missouri House and Senate that would release funds to study using psilocybin to treat PTSD in veterans and first responders.
There needs to be some alternative therapies, and that's what we're hoping, that we can get legislation passed here in Missouri to do these clinical trials with psilocybin.
Dina Ladd with Modern Health Coalition says the executive order signed by President Trump over the weekend would allocate $50 million to partner with state governments that are developing programs to use psychedelics for mental illness treatment. She says her hope is that this moves their legislation forward in Jefferson City. An unflattering article has led to legal action. CBS's Jim Krasula has more.
FBI Director Kash Patel has filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit against The Atlantic magazine and reporter Sarah Fitzpatrick. The legal action stems from an article in the publication entitled "The FBI Director is MIA." It said that Patel has alarmed colleagues with episodes of excessive drinking and unexplained absences.
From the KMOX business desk, plans for a gospel museum in the old Baptist church in the Central West End's Holy Corners went from bad to worse. First, a fire severely damaged the building in 2021. Now the woman who pitched that project, 59-year-old Monica Butler, is charged with fraud. Butler and 5 others indicted by the U.S. Attorney's Office of scheming to fraudulently get more than $8 million in pandemic relief loans. Another person charged is 47-year-old Dana Kelly, former owner of the now-closed Rain nightclub on Washington Avenue.
A nice afternoon with plenty of sunshine, high 69. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 54. Sunshine mixed with some clouds tomorrow, becoming breezy and warmer, high 81. Good deal of sunshine Wednesday and warm, the high again 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
The weather is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. It's 57 degrees with sunshine. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Every Monday, we talk to Andrew Egger, a St. Louisan who happens to be the White House correspondent for The Bulwark, and his newsletter is called Morning Shots. He's the co-author of that, and he joins us every Monday. Andrew Egger, how's it going, man?
Hey, guys, I'm doing great. Hope it's the same for you.
We are doing pretty well. I'm not sure we're doing I think we're doing better right now than the FBI Director Kash Patel is doing, who is now the focus of a story in The Atlantic from a couple of days ago. But he has filed a defamation lawsuit. If anybody was listening to the newscast, you probably heard that story. So as we got the word of this in the last couple of hours, what do you think?
Yeah, so Kash Patel has always been sort of a strange figure. I mean, it is obvious to everybody on every side that he does not at all fit the mold of sort of a classic FBI director, or really any FBI director that has ever existed under any administration, where the sort of norm is to be extremely unassuming, extremely understated, have basically zero, personal media presence, You might remember guys like Chris Wray from the last couple administrations. I mean, really, really just sort of like a buttoned up figure whose focus is keeping his head down, keeping the investigations going. Kash Patel, even his fans would admit, very different, very flamboyant figure. He's kind of a former conservative influencer. He's kind of a present conservative influencer. I mean, he kind of sees that as part of his job to be sort of, very publicly present, wearing a lot of flashy, cash branded personal merch, showing up at, UFC fights or in the locker room after the U.S. men's hockey team, won the gold medal at the Olympics to party and celebrate. And on a more kind of political note, to be sort of stridently partisan and sort of a figure backing, for instance, the president's narratives about needing to prosecute his various political enemies in a way that is sort of shockingly out of keeping with prior norms for this job or any federal law enforcement job. But the Atlantic story in question is alleging a lot of sort of off the wall and sort of I guess you could say unhinged personal conduct, a lot of stuff related to sort of binge drinking and late night partying that cuts into mornings at work, forcing the rescheduling of meetings and at one point sort of very notably requiring FBI personnel to contemplate getting some equipment to batter down a door that Patel was sleeping behind, again, after a night out. The Atlantic alleges all of these things in the article. Patel denies all these things. He has filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit now against the Atlantic just this morning, where he basically says, these are all fabrications and I'm gonna bleed him for it. And the Atlantic has said that they are sticking by their reporting. So I guess we're going to see it fought out in court.
Okay. Is there a chance that as this drags on, as it might, that the president gets fatigued with the scandal surrounding Kash Patel and decides, you know what, this guy, he's not serving my image anymore. I'm going to let him go? Because we do see that a lot in this administration where if people are unhappy, if the public is unhappy enough with someone, the president realizes he no longer serves a useful purpose. And so out he goes or out she goes. Is there a chance that Kash might be under that kind of scrutiny from the president or not yet?
Yeah, well, the "or out she goes" thing you said that was interesting because I think everybody's kind of go-to example for this sort of thing happening is what happened to Kristi Noem, the former director the former secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, who sort of was another figure sort of known for her antics, and the president eventually got tired enough of that he decided to go in a different direction. That said, compared to the first term, Trump has really kept his people around him more closely than in the past. I mean, there have been a lot of opportunities, for instance, for him to get tired of, for instance, his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's like very stridently anti-war and has kind of been weirdly crosswise with him on his own conflict in Iran, things like that, or Pete Hegseth, or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. There's been a lot of sort of scandal across this administration, a lot of controversy across this administration. And for the most part, the president has basically dropped the line where if these people are sticking with me, if they are sort of backing me to the hilt, and I'm confident that they are doing everything they can to advance my priorities, then of course there's going to be media controversy. Of course there's going to be scandal. But for the most part, I'm sticking with them. And obviously, again, there's a limit to that. But we can definitely see that that's the play that Patel is trying to run right now. I mean, what did he do in addition to filing this lawsuit when this sort of these allegations broke into the public eye? He went to Fox News yesterday and did a long interview where he denied the allegations. But he didn't just deny the allegations. He also kind of doubled down on his pledges to do a couple of the sort of investigations that he knows the president really wants to see. And in particular, he said, these January 6th investigations, the invented MAGA narrative about the Joe Biden having stolen the election from Donald Trump in 2020. Kash Patel, when he's under personal fire, he retreats to this idea of sort of throwing stuff about that out into the MAGA ecosystem to cover his own back. And he said yesterday that we should expect to see arrests pretty soon coming out of the FBI, again, related to supposed fraud in the 2020 election that has never been proven by anybody.
I imagine if this goes far enough, the whole discovery phase will be pretty interesting. So, well, we'll keep following that along. Meanwhile, since we have you on and we're not quite sure, is the Strait of Hormuz open or no?
This is amazing. I mean, this is just the strangest story, right? Because for the last few weeks, it kind of seems like the United States and Iran are flipping what they're saying about the Strait of Hormuz every few days. They're saying it's open now, or it's closed now, or it's open now, or it's closed now. And right now they are definitely saying it's closed. But the reality has been that other than for a few hours, late Friday into Saturday, it's basically been largely closed the whole time. And now, it's as closed as it has ever been. So we're in this strange situation where supposedly we are still under this ceasefire that was signed, but the ceasefire is supposed to expire in just a few days here, and yet, even though technically we're still under it, we're having like more conflict in the Strait of Hormuz now than we have, basically at any point during this conflict. There were a few ships that Iran had supposedly cleared to move through, again, early on Saturday. And then when Iran slammed the strait back closed and basically said, we've changed our mind. We think that the United States is in violation of this ceasefire and we're not going to allow any traffic through. Then there were reports and audio circulating online of Iranian forces actually firing on these same ships that they had themselves, slightly earlier cleared to transit through, and sort of panicky crews from the ships radioing back like, hey, you told us we could go through. Don't shoot at us. We'll just turn around if you don't want us to go through. But like, come on, it's hard to express just how chaotic and just how confusing and just different directions that don't make sense and contradict one another all these ships are getting from the various principles. And under those situations, under circumstances like that, even if it were true that Iran were to pivot back today and say, actually, we've changed our minds, the strait is open again, it's just hard to convince anybody to sail through at this point, because you don't want to get shot at by missiles or drones or have speedboats rammed into the side of your boat from the shore. And on the American side, it is more closed than it has ever been. This blockade that we have put in now for about a week has real teeth. Ships have not been successful in evading it. And in fact, over the weekend, we saw the first real example of a large Iranian cargo ship trying to kind of buck the blockade and being fired on by U.S. and interdicted by U.S. forces and sort of taken into U.S. custody. So that's where we are right now. The strait, from everything that we can see, has never been more closed, even though we are still technically under this ceasefire, and we are all kind of waiting to see whether there will even be additional negotiations in the next couple of days to see if that changes.
I did see that a couple of cruise ships were able to use the brief opening of the Strait of Hormuz to sneak on through, which is wild to see these pictures of cruise ships going through. But I do know that U.S. negotiators, they just landed in Pakistan, right? They were arriving Monday, so I'm presuming that they have arrived?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that is one of the weird elements to all of this is, it takes physical time to move these people around the world to sit down in a room and have these talks. But even though U.S. negotiators are there, we don't know yet whether Iranian negotiators will be showing up at all. Iran has announced that it will not be participating in this latest round of talks, basically saying that this blockade is a violation of the ceasefire that we currently have. And so, they don't think that America is operating in good faith and that they have no real reason to participate. And obviously the rejoinder to that is, you guys haven't been operating in good faith either. The Strait of Hormuz has remained closed on your end for nearly the entire duration of this ceasefire. So again, it's just this. There's not a lot of good faith to go around from anybody here, and it's hard to see why there would be, because again, we're right in the middle of a shooting war between these two countries, and so far, Iran has basically signaled that this economic pressure and this aerial bombardment pressure, everything that the U.S. has brought to bear so far is not sufficient to actually break their political will here. And meanwhile, the United States has really sort of flinched back away from what the next step would be if they were to try to ratchet the pressure even higher, which would be some sort of boots on the ground, invasion of actual troops to secure the strait. So it's a mess. I'm certainly not saying that the United States is making a mistake by not committing troops on the ground over there. It is a very, very, very a difficult question to see how they would sell that domestically when there has been no declaration of war, when they have really not, taken pains to sell the American people on this conflict at all, other than to say, you don't need to really worry about this. It's going to be short and there aren't going to be a lot of effects. We're going to be in, we're going to be out, and you're going to be happy we did it. So it really does. I mean, I've been saying this now for weeks on this show, and it remains true that it really is kind of a dilemma that the White House is stuck in, with wanting to disengage from this as early as possible, but really not seeing how they can do that without leaving Iran in a really unacceptable sort of hostile control of this vital strait.
One of the major side effects of this entire operation is the rising cost of gas. It is up in my neighborhood. It's up about $1.10 from where it was about 6 weeks ago. So it's a considerable jump. And the energy secretary recently said it may not be until 2027 when gas prices start to come back down. And the president said he's wrong. I believe he literally said he's wrong on that. So how has that comment played in Washington?
Yeah, so I mean, this is part of Donald Trump's current media strategy, is sort of taking calls from a bunch of different random reporters and just sort of saying whatever seems like reassuring in the moment. I mean, obviously, when the president says, well, I think gas is going to come down a lot faster than that. I mean, that is him saying he hopes that will be the case. That's just the character in which he makes these sort of impromptu press contacts these days. I think that the secretary could end up being right about one other thing that he said, which is that gas hopefully has peaked. If we were now to get into a situation where there is actually some resolution to this, it would still take a long time for oil to come all the way back down. It would take a long time, for all of that bottled up traffic in the Strait to kind of get back out, and the supply chains to get unsnarled, and these different energy shocks that have already been hitting like across Asia to all be replenished. And all those things are going to be keeping costs somewhat elevated. But, it is possible that even in that environment, prices will be higher than they were, before this started, but coming down noticeably from their high water mark of a couple of weeks ago here, when people were saying, wow, is oil going to go to $200 a barrel? Like, what is the actual plan here? But the problem is that we actually still don't have that real solution to this problem. And so we're at a moment where, the administration is probably correct to be trying to sort of pre-prime people to just say, look, we're hoping it's going to get cheaper, but don't expect it to just drop back down sort of sub $3 a gallon like it was, 8 weeks ago or whatever. It's going to take some time to get back there. But I think that even though they are potentially correct that it will settle lower than it is, but higher than it was, we still, again, don't have that any sort of real assurance that this crisis is complete, is heading toward completion. And in the absence of that, there is also still this sort of downside risk that we will get back to a real catastrophe. I mean, like back to where markets were just a few weeks ago, because again, there still is really no actual finish line in sight for when this strait might be reopened.
Andrew Egger, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Andrew Egger, White House correspondent for The Bulwark. You can read his newsletter. It's called Morning Shots, and he is the co-author of that. And we talk to him every Monday here on 104.1 FM KMOX. We've got Jeff and Pops Bailey coming up at 11:30. Remember the contestants for Survivor? Well, there's a watch party coming up. And our two favorite lumberjacks have been doing great work in the city of St. Louis. Yep. So we will talk to them about that. That's 11:30 here on KMOX.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX and my official sportsbook as well. And I just want to brag for a second and say that I have been with FanDuel longer than the state of Missouri. I've been playing when I've been out of town for a long, long time, a lot of years. It's a blast, and it's because they're always bringing something, right? Whether it was March Madness a while ago or the beginning of baseball season, there's always something going on. And right now, FanDuel is serving up a happy hour every day during the playoffs. So we'll be talking about special drops that you don't want to miss, from profit boosts to bonus bets and a whole lot more than that. And the best part, It's every single day. So whether you're betting the early game or gearing up for prime time, just make sure you open the FanDuel app and see what's there waiting for you on every given day. Head to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get yourself started. And FanDuel, of course, is an official partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Everything you knew about reaching customers online is being rewritten. Time to rethink your approach. Outcomes from Viant finds real customers, not impressions, not clicks, customers. Our AI maximizes every dollar of your budget against the outcomes that matter most and proves it happened. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game. Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug! Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down. Hey! Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You voted, we listened. On Friday, April 24th, the Cardinals take on the Seattle Mariners, and Busch Stadium is going dark. That night, you will receive the all-new Cardinals jersey, Dark Mode, presented by Phillips 66. This fan-selected look was brought to life for the ballpark and designed to stand out in the stands. A limited giveaway you can only get at the game. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Victor Scott II. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the loop with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Don't miss the Route 66 Centennial Festival at the Missouri History Museum, April 30th through May 3rd. Bring back memories of the Mother Road's stunning natural scenery and roadside attractions, and explore its complex history and impacts on communities across the region. Featuring a concert by Sweetie and the Toothaches, a classic car show, neon display, food trucks, lectures, kids' crafts, and more. All activities are free. Schedule at mohistory.org/festival.
Proudly serving St. Louis for over 100 years. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Hey, Amy.
Yes.
Did you see the greatest thing that's ever happened?
No, and there's no telling because it's you.
What do you mean?
If it's the greatest thing that ever happened to you, it's either like super specific and has to do with the Chicago Bears, or it's something that everyone else would perceive as negative.
Well, I think this is wonderful because if this were how all races and all marathons were, I would pay attention.
Okay.
Did you see that in Beijing they held a humanoid robot
Yes.
marathon?
Yes.
It's pretty awesome.
It was a half marathon.
It's a half marathon. Last year, they did it last year, too, which I did not know. I don't remember it happening. Last year's champion recorded a time of 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's not good. I remember that because for a robot trying to set a record, that's not good.
So how do you feel about robots running against humans? Because they did.
Well, I've got a lot of feelings, so tell me what the punchline is here, because
There is no punchline. It's just this is a good use of robots.
Well, you know what happened this year, right?
Because now these races are interesting.
Well, you know what happened this year.
One of them ran into a barricade.
Well, that's the one that won. It ran it in 50 minutes, which is a record, because I think the human record is like 57 minutes or something like that, which is insane, by the way. But the robot ran 50 minutes for the half marathon, which is very, very, very fast. Obviously, I don't think any human will ever run 50 minutes. The robot ran into a barricade and had to be helped up, which also is disqualifying. You can't get helped up by anybody if you fall in the marathon. So technically he DQ'd. He didn't finish. It didn't finish.
Are we really holding it to the same standards?
We are, because here's the thing. For me, this is not impressive because, like,
we talk about a robot.
Isn't our car a robot? Can't robots just use wheels?
No.
Robots use wheels.
No, this is a robot with legs. It has like actual legs with feet.
I know, but what's the point?
Because that's super cool, man.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Our cars are robots and golf carts are robots and everything with wheels. R2-D2 is a robot. He's got wheels.
He's got legs too. Legs with wheels.
I don't understand. He does have legs with wheels. Like those roller skate or like the shoes with the roller skates. Yeah. I just don't understand what the point of this is. It's so dumb.
It's the most interesting.
Honestly, I think it would be really bad if our scientists couldn't invent a robot that's faster than a human.
Well, but this is the first time we've ever had robots that can run with legs. This is pretty amazing.
It looks stupid. I think it's dumb.
It has automatically made marathons interesting.
It's going to. Why don't you just tip it over? It runs into barricades. Did you see?
I could tip you over.
I could tip over a robot easier than me.
But I could still knock you over.
Yeah, but that's because you're big.
Well, somebody else who's big can knock you over.
But they're not going to do that in a race. I just don't understand the point of the robot.
Don't you now want to go watch more races because if there might be robots involved?
No, I find them offensive to look at.
You're offended by the robot runners?
They're like,
They have like I love the pace. They got these little short legs, and I think it's interesting.
I think it's stupid. I don't understand the point. I feel like you should be able to invent a robot.
Well, what's the point of anything?
That's a great point.
Because if we build them to run like this, then we can build them to go to war for us instead, right?
No, they just get tipped over. Remember the AT-ATs from Star Wars?
Yeah.
They got tipped over.
Well, it wasn't that easy to do it.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Little gremlins used logs to tip them over.
Gremlins? Is that what you call the Ewoks?
Ewoks. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Little Ewoks could tip over the robots. I just think robots with legs that's not a good thing. Okay, give me a tank any day in battle over a robot with legs that you could just tip over and trip up. And you run around, they run around its legs with a rope. Now the robot can't run.
Well, I'm saying that in a battle you need foot soldiers, right?
I don't think so.
You don't?
Not robot ones.
Well, wouldn't you? These will be our ground troops.
No,
Wouldn't you rather these be your ground troops than?
I mean, you don't want casualties, but I'm just saying I've seen what the Ewoks did to the AT-ATs, and I just think robots with legs. Hey, we're talking about running. Today's Marathon Monday. You know that people are running the Boston Marathon right now as we speak. As we speak.
Is the winner done?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Did they do well?
Yep.
Okay.
They did great.
That's good. Boston Marathon, they have a baseball game. The Red Sox play in the middle of the day. I love Patriots Day there.
Patriots
Day
is so much fun because everybody is off work. And I will tell you this about Boston. People may think, oh, I don't care about running. But I will say, when you are there, millions of people show up for the Boston Marathon runners, and they make you feel like they're all there just for you. They make you feel like an all-star. And the whole city, you've got the yellow and blue, so people wear their jackets, they wear their medals afterwards. You go to restaurants, people are hanging out at bars afterwards. But it's a holiday in all of Boston because, like you said, there's a day game at Fenway Park. And Patriots Day is a really fun celebration in Boston.
Our favorite lumberjacks in the entire world and contestants on CBS's Survivor are coming up next. Jeff and Pops Bailey will be with us in just a moment. Survivor 50 watch party is coming to Westport Social on Wednesday. Jeff and Pops next on KMOX.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. You know, there are real things to talk about amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m., and I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
58 degrees and gorgeous. Lots of sunshine today, a high of 69. Tonight, mainly clear and a low of 50.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's the latest tool available at Supplement Superstores to get you moving down the path you want to when it comes to being in great shape. This is not a fat burner. It is a complete metabolism system. It's Burn Balance Edge for the guys, Burn Balance Zen for the ladies. So make sure you ask for the right one when you go in. But what this does is makes your body work the right way. So what I've noticed in a short amount of time so far, metabolism is great. I mean, you're starting to feel, in fact, I can feel it. Shirts are fitting a little looser. The belt pulls a little tighter. And on top of that metabolism boost, you're also getting some reductions in stress and cortisol levels. You're getting appetite control, craving control throughout the day, all-day focused energy with no jitters and crash. And look, it isn't magic. You need to do the work. But I'll tell you this, it's a good assistant. It helps a lot to make the right decisions. So if you want long-lasting results, go to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
In 1991, John and Cindy Morelli started Morelli Tuck Pointing. As of today, they've won just about every award possible for the tuck pointing business. The BBB Torch Award, the Next Door Neighborhood Fave Award, and an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. For homeowners, this is a great time to get a free inspection of your basement, your brick or stone fireplace, your garage interior, your porch, and maybe even your walkway. Indoor tuck pointing can be started now. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. My wife Beth and I have used Morelli Tuck Pointing to work on 2 of our homes now over the last 25 years. We have found the Morelli bids to be fair, their crews are very polite, and they clean up after themselves. But most importantly, their work is beautiful. Family owned and operated since 1991. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Homeowners, a lot of you are worried about one thing when it comes to selling, and that's leaving money on the table. This is Debbie Monterey. I'm with Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, how do you help sellers make sure they're getting top dollar?
The reality is, most homes don't sell for what they should. I see it happen all the time. They either price it wrong or they don't create enough demand. But with over 2,400 buyers in my buyers in waiting database and my exclusive pricing strategy, I'm able to offer my seller a 100% market value guarantee. And if I can't get you 100% of your home's market value, I'll pay you the difference. So you don't have to wonder if you left money on the table. You can sell with confidence, knowing you maximize your sale.
Make sure you get every dollar for your home. Call St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Get inside your Redbirds and the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Gas House Gang is coming up at 12 o'clock. A lot of baseball talk we'll do then. Greg Amsinger's on the show. Mike Claiborne. Amy will stick around, talk Blues hockey with us. But right now, we have in studio with us our two favorite lumberjacks. It's Pops and Jeff Bailey with Green Thumb Tree Services and Econo Tree. And also, you might know them from Survivor. They were both in season 37. And there is a big watch party coming up here on Wednesday at Westport Plaza at 6 o'clock. And if you want tickets for it, just Google Survivor Watch Party Westport and it'll pop right up. Pops and Jeff Bailey, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Yeah, man. Just been working hard. You know, it's that time of the year where, you know, the calls start coming in. Everybody wants to get their trees pruned, or maybe they see something that they need to get removed. Of course, we're almost a year later, and we're still working on some of that stuff from that big tornado that we had last year. And believe it or not, even some of the stuff in the county from the March 14th tornado that we had last year. So just different things like that.
So as far as what you guys do, how much is still left from that? Because, again, like you said, we're over 11 months from that happening.
Yeah. It's not a whole lot of, so at the beginning, right, you got trees that fell on houses, you got stuff that have damaged property. That stuff is not really around as much. A lot of people are just kind of in the rebuilding phase, and the ones that aren't in the rebuilding phase yet, they're in like the gutting out phase and getting rid of, you know, I hate to call it junk because these are things that was once their possessions, but now they have to get hauled away as junk. You know what I mean? So that they can start over and rebuild in those spaces. So it's not as much trees from the tornado, but it still is some, you know, so we're still busy from that.
And so you guys are helping with that too.
Of course.
With all of the removal of the debris and of the items that have been ruined.
Yep. So there are resources that we use within the tree space that can also be used to haul away those items. So we've allocated stuff like that to that effort.
And didn't you guys know a lot of the people when we went on when it first happened, and we were on one of the streets up there on Labadee.
Yeah.
And so you know a lot of the families who were in that area, right?
Yeah. We have really deep ties and connections to North City, St. Louis. So yeah, when it happened, a lot of family members, a lot of friends, childhood friends that I had grown up with, people that have been calling Pops before Pops was Pops. You know what I mean? So yeah, so it really, I think that's really what drew us down there to help out as much as possible.
Before Pops was Pops, what was that? What was that like?
Well, he's always called me Pop.
Yeah.
And then since we was on the show, it seems like everybody calls me Pop.
Yeah. It's people older than him. What's up, Pops?
Yeah, what's up, Pop? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You said that as if there weren't people older than Pops. So there's all kinds of people.
We
older
find
than
them
Pops.
sometimes. Yeah.
they're even older than him.
If you look hard enough, you'll find them.
Yeah, we were just asking you that question off the air about, do you get recognized? Does it when you're on a job? Are people like, hey, are you the guys?
Absolutely, yeah. Honestly, Pops more than myself. Because you don't forget the name Pops. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, The Amazing Race is a real niche type of thing, so we really get recognized when we're traveling and stuff like that. But it'll be like that once a day thing. You'll be at a gas station or and a lot of our customers, some of our customers called us because they saw us on the race. So they know from the beginning. Or you may have that customer that called you and then their family member visits and they say, hey, do you know who's cutting your tree right now? So it's just random times.
It's like that.
Yep.
Is it weird being like both a celebrity and someone just going to work every day? Like you're both things at the same time.
There is almost like an alternate universe, if that doesn't sound insane, because it's not weird at all, right? Like our employees, our family members, the people that we see on a day-to-day basis, it does not faze them. It's not like awkward or it's not like even a part of anything. And then people that I grew up with, people here in St. Louis, they watched it to support us and to see us on the show, but they weren't as deep into it. But then in this alternate universe, like we may go to like a fan event. We were in Orlando for this big celebrity weekend and everything, and everybody's taking pictures and getting autographs, and it's like it is a big deal to them. So it's just two different things, and I like it that way. I couldn't imagine being like an actual celebrity, like a pop star, an actor, and everywhere you
Can't
go.
do anything.
I couldn't imagine that. So I love what this is.
So you guys are going to be at this Survivor. You were both on Amazing Race, but how do you get involved with the Survivor watch party that's happening?
It's one big family, like a community. So Bryce and Wendell, they were both on Survivor. Wendell actually
And
won
this is
Survivor
their party.
38. This is their party.
Yeah.
So every season, every Survivor season, they do watch parties every Wednesday when Survivor comes on. They're always in a different city. They've never come to St. Louis. They're coming to St. Louis because they saw this time last year, Pops and I had our watch party for Amazing Race, and it sold out. It was, 500, 600 people there. It was, and they see St. Louis does have that market. When they first put fillers out just to see, hey, St. Louis, would you guys be interested in this? They got a crazy response. People are driving up from Nashville and Kansas City and all these different places you're going to meet Survivor legends. You got Sifu, you got Tasha Fox, who was on Survivor twice. She's from St. Louis, and a bunch of other people that are going to be in attendance at the party. And it's just, as a Survivor fan, you're just excited, not just to meet Survivor legends, but also other fans. And you get to talk to them about the game, stuff that people at home don't really, understand as much as a real fan does.
The most recent winner was on Channel 4 here for a while.
Savannah.
Yeah, was
Savannah
it Channel
Louis.
4 or 5?
I think it was 2.
Was it?
I'm not sure.
She was on one of them.
She was on TV. She was a
I know
news
she
anchor.
left St. Louis a few years ago, but she just won this most recent season.
Yeah. She won. She was brought back for this current season that's on, which is Survivor 50, because she became an instant legend just because of the way she played the game. Yep.
So, with you guys being on The Amazing Race and it being a Survivor watch party with Survivor people who are on the show, do you have arguments over which show was tougher to be on?
It's not. You know what? Believe it or not, it's not arguments, and we're all within that CBS family. You got Big Brother, Survivor, and Amazing Race. They do a lot of crossover seasons, so there are some survivors who have done the Amazing Race. There are some Big Brother people who have done both. So everybody says, believe it or not, I'm gonna put this out there because it does come from private conversation. Everybody likes doing the Amazing Race the most. They say that's if they had to do another one, I'll do the Amazing Race again. And I can imagine. So we get to travel all around the world, and it's just that much fun. And it's not as, but I think everybody will agree that it's between Big Brother and Survivor, which one is the toughest, which one is the hardest to endure. People that I know who have done Survivor and Big Brother, they say between those two, Big Brother, because it's longer and you're trapped inside of a house. It's you know what I mean?
That seems rough.
But I've heard the opposite too, saying that Survivor can be tougher. But Amazing Race is not known as the tougher, harder one. It's the cooler, get to see more, get to do more one, and it's the one I think everybody is in agreement they would do in a heartbeat.
Well, Pops, there's no way you'd want to be stuck in a house with however many other people for that long.
I don't think I want to be stuck in a house. I think the race is just so much more fun because you're traveling, and then you can also be with the one you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And challenge everybody else, which is a lot of fun.
What happened? What came out of that race or that show for the both of you that maybe you didn't expect to have happen?
Well, when we got
Losing.
off, I guess.
I mean, just to give you a more serious answer to that, I would say that we went in. It was my thing. Like, it was something that I really wanted to do. I'm really into those shows: Big Brother, Survivor, Amazing Race. And I told Pops, hey, we're going to go on the Amazing Race. I didn't know that when we got there, Pops was going to kick in full drive as much as he did. He did more roadblocks than I did. He was it was a lot of maneuvers. You'll see a scene where I got us on an earlier flight, and it was it was a big deal. But then the next day, he got us in the front of the line to get on the train, and then he saw where the cabs was at, and it was like, wow, Pops, you were really locked in, and I didn't know he was gonna go there with it. I knew he was gonna be able to do everything physical, but I didn't know he was gonna be as strategic as he was. So that was so much fun to see.
And had you, Pops, traveled a lot in your life?
I hadn't. Jeff has, but I didn't. So I was very excited about that. I mean, I wasn't looking too much forward to that 18-hour flight.
Yeah.
But I hadn't but it was so much fun.
Which is so impressive with like catching the trains and the buses in different countries, because that's one of the more intimidating aspects of travel, even if you're not in a race. Like, even if you're not in a race, it's like, okay, how do I catch the train system in this country?
Yeah.
So
And I wish people, like, everybody think about the anxiety and that you get when you're traveling.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got to get through security. What are you really in that much of a rush to? But you feel it though, right? And even if you're not about to miss your flights, you just feel like, oh, we got to make this go as fast as possible. Now imagine if $1 million is on the line. You see 13 other teams of these fit people, these people that you don't know what they do for a living. These people may be travel agents. This may be their thing more than it is your thing, and you're racing against them. So imagine how the pressure that we feel. I can honestly say, because it was me and my pops, we were one of the teams that didn't really feel a whole lot of pressure. We had fun with it. We was competitive and wanted to win, but I didn't get like those anxious feelings and stuff until we didn't get on that train. That's when you could see it on my face. I couldn't hide it, you know. But other than that, it was just it's a great experience. Yeah.
I'll just ask this quickly: if the two of you were on Survivor, who would win between the two of you on Survivor on like the island?
And one of you would have to sell out the
Pops
other
or
one.
Jeff,
That's how it works on the show, right?
I think Jeff would win because that's more like a mind game almost, you know, on the island. And I think Jeff, he's a genius, you know. That's why I wasn't worried in the race when it came to things mental. Physical, I was game, I was ready, but mental, he had it just like that. I'm like,
all right, now imagine that. So I get what he said, and like I think that it's my thing. Like, I love Survivor. Like I said, those strategic games, social games and everything. But if everybody in this room had to vote one of us out, you guys would vote me out. Just because what he said, Jeff's a genius. It's like, oh, Pops. Everybody just loves Pops, man. So it's like that would I don't think it would end up going that way. I think everybody they'd cry and we can't vote Pops out, and I'd be gone.
He sounds like Phil. Phil made a statement at the pit stop one time. He said exactly what you said. That's funny.
So Pops is playing a longer game, I think.
Yeah. Pops is playing a longer game. He's already playing right now.
Yeah.
He's playing.
He's like,
right
I'm just
now.
a nice guy. Like, no, he's scheming.
Yeah, no, he's scheming on you. Yeah, he's a bigger physical threat. So it's like that's who you really got to watch out for.
Pops Bailey and Jeff Bailey, it's good to see you both again, and all the great work you're doing in St. Louis as well. We appreciate you for it, and we appreciate you coming. On Wednesday, again, the Survivor 50 watch party at Westport Social, or Westport. Yes, it is at Westport Social.
Yep.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. It is happening this Wednesday, Bryson Wen, Survivor 50 in St. Louis. Just Google that, and you can get tickets for it. It's good to see you guys.
Great to see you guys.
Come back in again soon and see us, would you?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Pops Bailey and Jeff Bailey, their businesses, Green Thumb Tree Services and Econo Tree, and they're awesome. Love you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Much. Love you too.
It's KMOX.
2026, I've been hearing from customers and friends that their utility bills went up quite a bit for their electric bill. That being said, and you're looking at buying a new air conditioner, or you're thinking, hey, I guess let's just get an air conditioner so it helps with the electric bills. If you have an old system, it definitely can help you. But watch your thinking. Just because you are told this is a so-called high-efficient air conditioner, it's not going to save you nowhere near what you think it's going to save you. Just replacing your old equipment is the biggest thing, and make your house efficient. An air conditioner is not going to make your house efficient. That being said, it's a great time to purchase an air conditioner if you get the correct one. Don't overspend. Don't believe the hype. In other words, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Call me, Bart Inman, at 314, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Beat the spring cleaning rush at Zero Res. This week, buy one room of carpet, get one cleaned for free. Unlimited rooms and whole system air duct cleaning for just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
It's already April. Maybe you're planning to have some get-togethers, a graduation party, Father's Day cookout, who knows? But is your outdoor space ready? Maybe you never got around to all those improvements you had been planning. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. And whether you're looking for a new deck or a patio, a pergola, a sunroom, a screen room, or all of the above and then some, Chesterfield Fence and Deck can make the magic happen because they have 58 years of experience and they have thousands of satisfied customers, and they offer real value because when you spend the money, you get a project that is going to last for years to come. They only ever use the highest quality materials. They have their own installation crews. That's important because those crews have years of experience. If you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll offer you 20% off your next outdoor project. Give them a call, stop by, or they'll come to you. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, chesterfieldfence.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Earlier, we brought to you the story about James Dolan, who is the owner of the Knicks and the New York Rangers, Madison Square Garden, Radio City Music Hall, and the Sphere in Vegas. He owns all of those entities. And about his surveillance system, and he's very sensitive, it seems like. And anybody who criticizes the team or him, he has vendettas against them. And we had Michelle, who had sent us a voice message about somebody in her family. Her brother, who was worked for a law firm, and that law firm had a lawsuit against Dolan in some capacity. Well, the brother, had tickets to see U2 at the Sphere, and as soon as he got into the building, they kicked him out. They recognized him because of the facial recognition software, allegedly, and they asked him to leave. And I asked the question, did they at least refund his ticket because they allowed the rest of his party to stay at the Sphere and watch the show, but he had to leave. And so Michelle followed up with us.
So my recollection is he was not refunded, and on top of that, they resold his ticket. The firm had been notified that they were not allowed to be in any of the venues, but I guess he took a chance, and maybe that's why they could not or did not refund his ticket.
Well, first of all, I'd like to know what Michelle is cooking.
What is she cooking? It sounds delicious.
That's number one. It may be awful, but it sounds great.
It does.
And I would be first of all, I'd be infuriated being kicked out for that. That's number one.
Not just kicked out, but banned.
Banned, not refunded, and then they sell the ticket again?
Yeah.
How do they even do that?
This is why we're gonna reach out to a legal expert here, because something smells foul. Where I get, if you're a private company, you can not allow people into your venue, but can you use that broad of a brushstroke to say, hey, because one guy was mean, I'm not letting the entire law firm into the Sphere or Madison Square Gardens or Radio City Music Hall. That seems like way too much power to wield.
This texter here from a 618 says, all the money in the world and still an insecure snowflake. If I were a multi-billionaire, even if I were a 500 millionaire, there's just, you could not possibly say anything to hurt my feelings. You just couldn't.
Well, we can't do that now, though.
Okay, but you really couldn't then. You just could not hurt my feelings. It would be you could say the worst thing about me personally, and you could bring my family into it.
Oh, wow.
And I would be like, that's okay. I have $1 billion. What do I care about what you've got to say? You literally don't matter to me. I just don't understand having that kind of money and influence and power and caring that some guy one time made a T-shirt that said you should be fired.
Which is not uncommon for owners
I
and
know.
general managers
That's part
and
of the
coaches.
gig.
I mean, the Cardinals could win the World Series and half the people would still be like, well, we should get rid of this guy or that guy. I mean, that's just sports. That's
Right.
just if
That's
you
part of being in the business.
it's like if you are a coach or a general manager and you're so sensitive that you can't handle people criticizing you, well, you're not really cut out for the job.
Right.
And this guy is the
Well, he inherited it from his dad.
right. And so I don't think he's cut out for the job because it blows my mind that, yes, that he's going, because this has got to take a lot of bandwidth. It takes some bandwidth to have this type of security system and to tell people, hey, that whole law firm banned them. They can't go to Madison Square Gardens. It's creepy. It's an invasion of privacy. It also, something feels like, how is this legal to just say, no one from your company can go because Matt said something mean to me one time?
I'd like
Multiple times.
He's mean to us all the time. I'd like to ban him from the room. Can we do that?
Go ahead.
Who's going to press the buttons?
Please.
Anybody can press these buttons.
Yeah, I mean,
Not that
Daniel
hard.
can do it. We'll get somebody else.
A fish.
We
monkey.
can't,
You get a
though.
monkey. You go to those rhesus monkeys. All right. Come back tomorrow, please. 9 o'clock in the morning. We will be back here for the Chris and Amy show. If you missed anything, it's on the Odyssey app. All the podcasts are there. Segments, interviews, full show, whatever you want, or wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back tomorrow at 9, but the Gas House Gang talking Cardinals, baseball, and more next on KMOX. Don't you now want to go watch more races because there might be robots
No,
involved?
I find them offensive to look at.
You're offended by the robot
yeah,
runners?
they're like,
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Wesley Financial. The Artemis Moon missions are another entry